morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. Good to be here. Good to be seen wherever you are. However you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. I like that. Looks like we caught the pipe bomber. Of course, that breaks right before we went live. So, Jen, if we get any breaking news, it looks like it's somebody named Brian. I think his name's Brian. Let me go back.
Just Brian.
I think his name is Brian.
Brian. I'll be on the lookout for news about Brian.
He is devastatingly a white guy. Let's see.
This is my shocked face. I know you can't see my face, but it's very surprised.
And if it could be the Brian in the chat. We don't know. What did they say his name was? Brian Cole.
Yeah.
It's Brian Cole. I don't know. I don't want to show the picture because I think there's probably a lot of people named Brian Cole. So I don't want to show the pictures that we're seeing here, but I'm looking here. I'm looking at one here from somebody who labels themselves a January 6th political prisoner, so that's not great. There's a LinkedIn. This doesn't give any information, so this is fine. Skills, skip tracing, fraud, private investigations, security management, physical security, surveillance, security operations, surety bonds, criminal law, CCTV. This feels fake. I don't know. It's just gonna be another one of those people that did something and then we never hear of them ever again. Steve Baker saying, after an abundance of counsel from trusted parties within and outside the government, we've hit the pause button so those interested parties can have some more time to look at the J6 pipe bomber evidence. There are things they need to do internally. It's a real story. When it breaks, it's going to be a huge story. I don't know. I don't think we have much about it. But remember, wasn't it, 2 weeks ago they were blaming that lady? I wonder if they're going to apologize for that. I think Megyn Kelly covered it. The Blaze covered it. A lot of people covered that. And now we're on to Brian. What's his last name? Not Cox. Brian Cole. Right. Brian Cox isn't he the guy that was in? He was in like the Mission Impossible movies. I think he was in a lot of things.
I don't know. It just sounds like one of those adolescent jokes, or people like to say cough. So.
Take my headache medicine today. We'll be all right. I know that the headache is coming with what we're going to cover today. Were you over? Somebody I saw on Discord, Ash, they were doing the roast of RC over on TikTok. Were you over there?
So ironically, yes, because I woke up. Spawn doesn't wake up for school on time.
Yeah.
Ever. So I have to have this battle. And my alarm didn't go off on time. So, so I was listening to her. Yeah, RC was in there being his typical.
I was surprised you're still doing Elf on the Shelf, by the way. I know that's a ADHD comment I just made, but.
No, what's funny about it is, she's been excited for it every fucking year. And I've been forced to do it against my will. It's like negotiating with a terrorist, because I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you don't remember. Silly question. Why?
That's a fair assumption.
Forced, how I got put into having to do this stupid elf. If you want to hear the story really fast. So I didn't agree with Elf on the Shelf. I think it's stupid.
Just morally, you don't agree with it, or?
I just think that kids get enough with the whole idea of to be good, so that Santa will show up. I think that should be enough. Period. I don't think we need to do additional dumb shit to make kids be good. I think it's enough. So I'd said many times that I didn't want to do it. My former mother-in-law. I told her I didn't agree with it, but
does she
count got one.
Is she still a former mother-in-law? Do you still say that?
I guess I don't know, mother-in-law.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know how that works.
Either way. So I told her I didn't agree with it. She decided to buy one for her house.
She just forced
And
it. Good
and
move,
so she had one,
mother-in-law.
and so it was the first beating part was at her house, and she would. I mean, we don't live far. We live maybe 15 minutes um away, so it's like we don't live far, but we don't see them a ton. And so she would send pictures to Spawn each day, and so it got stupid. And so the next year, she had American Girl doll. If you guys don't know what those are, it's like dolls that kind of look like your kid. Um, so got an American Girl doll for Christmas, and mother-in-law bought her a mini Elf on the Shelf for her American Girl doll. And so Spawn decided she wanted to bring it home.
Yeah.
This, when I say mini Elf on the Shelf, it is literally like 2 inches tall.
Well, let's
Super
not.
small.
Hey, the MAGA bots have got, or they're in the chat already. Let's not talk about 2 inches while they're here. Let's be nice to them today.
Fair. That's fair.
That is a very small elf now that I'm looking at it. That is.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is in our Discord, there is a channel. I think it's called Jen's Stupid Elf.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's a channel. It's Jen's Stupid Elf. And so she, like, one day, like, begs for it to come home. She wants to bring it home. And so I'm like, well, so like I try to do this whole story. Like, well, I don't know if the little elf can, be away from the big elf, because it needs the bigger elf, to get everything done. And of course, my Spawn says to me, "I believe in the magic." So fuck my life. This little elf comes home, and so I try to do a couple different things. Like when it came home, the first one I did. I mean, if you go look at this, if you pull up it, because I posted like this rant that I'm talking about, you can show people what this is. The first one that I did, I got Scarface Elf.
Scarface Elf? What does that mean?
Go to the
Holy shit! This is a long. You have been. Oh,
I started this last year.
Okay, Is that this one coming out of the package? Is that the one you're talking about?
Go to, there's a date 12/1 at 2:09 Pacific time. It's got a bunch of words on it.
Oh, not the beginning.
No.
This year.
Yeah, I posted a refresh of it. So the first one I put down, it looks like my elf needed to go to rehab.
I can't.
Do you see it?
No, I don't. I'm looking.
Okay.
It was posted on what day?
Here, I'll put it in our DM.
All right.
So, because I posted this because people asked about it, and so I just wrote a rant. So if you look at that, so first one, it looked like.
Oh damn.
So if you want to show everybody what it looks like.
I didn't know your elf on the shelf was Don Jr. over here.
Right. So
or Hunter Biden for MAGA. So we can do Hunter Biden jokes too.
Yeah. So here, drag it over so people can see it because people won't truly understand.
Oh shit! I forgot you guys can't see this. Let me switch this.
So with the little elf, it was almost impossible to do this, and so I decided, if you're gonna do it, just gonna do it. And so I went and bought a bigger elf for like at the end of Christmas or whatever, for the next year, and
that's this one that's coming in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, so that was the little elf. That's the
still
little mini elf.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the same. So I tried to do a couple things and it didn't work well. So I bought a bigger elf, and then when I bought it, I just threw it in a box. I didn't open it. I didn't look at it. So the next year, I didn't know where it was. I couldn't find it, and so like Spawn comes home and she's looking for the elf one day, and it wasn't there on that right day. And so I'm looking for it, and when I finally open up the elf that I got, because her elf's supposed to be a girl elf, I open it up. It's a boy elf.
Oh no! So now what do you do?
And so I finally found it, and I more or less said that maybe her elf's name is Cookie. That that I told her maybe Cookie had
Your
a
elf was a 1950s housewife.
that so I thought maybe I told her that maybe Cookie just changed her style or so in my own head, where I'm going is like, well, maybe this elf is mask presenting, or maybe they're non-binary or gender
True.
fluid, or
Could be.
so that's where my head went. She didn't necessarily. I don't know if she didn't buy it all the way, but so yeah, I've been forced to do Elf on the Shelf.
How old is Spawn?
Spawn is 11. She'll be 12 in February.
That feels old for Elf on the Shelf. Is that old for Elf on the Shelf?
I think it is. Like, so last year, if anyone's around, she had some questions if she believed in things. And so I told her kind of one of those, well, if you don't believe, then, they stop showing up. And so then all of a sudden she believes. But she gets it really excited for it, or she used to get really excited. And so this year, her elf is a little bit more snarky. Because I found there's a snarky elf kit. So should we tell why this conversation came up? Should we bring it up? Why we're having this conversation? No,
I don't think we need to do that.
No. Okay. Well, actually, if you're in the Discord, when I post the most recent elf thing for today, you'll understand why this was brought up, because Jay had a conversation about something.
Did you already share our conversation in the Discord?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's fine. Jen asked me if I could hear her, and I said I was taking a shit. That's what happened.
So I did. There was an elf last night was in the bathroom saying that things stink. But then, so those were last year's stuff with some of the elf. And then, so I've done. There's been 3 so far. So if you go into that channel, I can just drop them in our chat. There's been
a mini pool table. What in the world? This is elaborate.
When I do shit, I do it right. Okay.
I guess so.
I don't half-ass anything in life. That's not true. But so this year there's been but so this year the elf came out. She hasn't been excited about the elf as much as she had in other years. So I kind of asked her, I'm like, do you not care about the elf anymore?
Now your feelings are hurt.
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I put in all this fucking work.
I find and it's I'm doing things on time. I'm not rushing later on. But I'm just, it's whatever. But she said she's at that age where the other kids at school don't necessarily believe in things like this anymore, so that they can't. So she doesn't get excited about it.
Oh, she's cool now.
Yeah,
gotcha,
exactly.
Well, good for you. So last year of Elf on the Shelf, you think?
Probably.
All right.
So, but yeah, so I posted. If you want to show the 3 from this year, I dropped it in our chat. I think some of these are more fun. So I can agree with these kinds of elves.
Phases
behavior.
of the moon. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, little elf bum there. That's kind of adorable. Jingle balls, help me! It smells like balls in here.
And I thought it was a nod to Johnny. I think.
Jingle bells, poopy smells. Yeah. Well,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your final year of Elf on the Shelf.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, let's jump into it. Jen, if anything comes up with the J6, Brian, our friend Brian, already on Twitter, they're like, he's definitely Antifa. He lives in the suburbs. He shows his house. He has a very nice house in the suburbs, but clearly he's Antifa over there. Let's get started. This is a good way to pick up after yesterday. As soon as the live was over, well, not as soon as, but at some point I went and I sat down by the river, and I just sat there and watched the sunset. I also met a guy named Henry, who was one of the most confusing humans I've ever met. Henry looked, Henry was straight out of Central Casting if you were going to build a character from a trailer park. And he was dressed almost head to toe in camo. He had binoculars around his neck. He was somewhere between the age of 25 and 50. I'm not really sure. But he was out there scouting areas to duck hunt. And when he walked by, I was down like next to the river. There's a path above, and I was sitting there uh, burning incense into my mouth. And he walked by and he kind of just stopped and looked at me. And I was like, do you want to hit this incense? And he's like, sure. And he came down. He had a dog with him, and it was like a maybe Labradoodle. But the Labradoodle was wearing a Christmas sweater and also had Christmas bows in her ear. Her name was Annie, and she was adorable. And I talked to Henry for about 20 minutes yesterday about all of his strategy for duck hunting on the river, and then also how he prepares his duck. So that's where I went after, and that story is completely unrelated. But it was just a reminder that not all white dudes are whiny little bitches. And but then then I came across this video. I think that was the wrong one. Great, that's the wrong one. Hold on one second. This is a good start. This is a regular start to my show. This one. All right. So, as a former Taco Bell executive, a little bit of violent trigger warning here. But this is the type of bitch shit that we're used to with white men. We got to be better. We're getting embarrassed right now. We look terrible. There's no group of people like collectively that whine more about nothing than white men. And as a fellow white, I'm saying we got to be better. This guy's, I forgot his name. It'll say his name here, but this story just kind of brought it all full circle of we got to do something about white guys.
Let me tell you something, you all.
Tonight, the man made famous for doing this and then apologizing,
never been okay.
says he is a victim too. Former Taco Bell executive Benjamin Golden now filing a $5 million lawsuit against the Uber driver he allegedly attacked in Southern California last fall. He admitted that he was drunk at the time. Days later, going public with this emotional apology on KCBS.
You know, I'm not that person. Sir,
get out of my car or I will call the
I think you're that person. That's you, right?
police.
Golden's attorney declining to comment, but the lawsuit saying at no time did Mr. Golden consent to be video recorded or viewed by anyone else. Golden, who was fired afterward by Taco Bell, is seeking damages for severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, fear and pain and suffering, and the loss of his job. Golden was charged with assault.
Beats the shit out of his Uber driver and then sues him for $5 million for emotional distress. White dudes, we got to be so much better than this. We have to denounce this type of bitch shit.
And battery. He pleaded not guilty. Those charges still pending. He was also sued by the Uber driver, Edward Caban, for unspecified damages.
So, be better today. Where's my white guys here? Where are my brethren? Let's all today agree collectively to be less bitchy. Can we do that? My fellow white guys, even MAGA, can we just be a little less bitchy today? Can we be a little bit less whiny today? A little bit less, just every day, a little better. When I was played ninth grade basketball, I had the coach that not a great cheer, but you know how you put your hands in, it's like go team or win or whatever. A lot of people say family. We would have to chant every day and every way we get a little better. Every day and every way we get a little better. Let's do that, white dudes. Let's all today, every day and every way, be a little bit better. Yeah, look, what am I drinking? Water. Have you looked up your own statements? No, there is no record of my own statements. Liberal and Democrat white men are the ones crying. Hence the reason y'all protest. You're complaining already that I'm just asking you to be a little bit better. This is the white fragility that I'm talking about there, Don B. Dumpies. All I asked you today is just to be a little bit better than you were yesterday, and you got offended. You immediately got offended by that. Are you just kidding me? Don't tell me to be a little bit better. Don't tell me to try a little bit harder. You're the one that needs to try a little harder. This is what we're talking about, bud. Just like a little bit better. Each and every day is a little bit better. The former Uber driver, they updated the TNC to add consent to recording. When you get in the car, you're giving permission. I didn't know that. So no matter what, even in I guess that's in a one part or two party consent state, I guess if it's in the terms of service, that counts as consent. That makes sense. Alexandria said, I have Snoop on the stoop. Much more fun. I've seen those. Rory said, train ride. Thank you for joining the dollar train there. And that's a good reminder, guys. We are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out our gift goal each and every day would be greatly appreciated. You know how to do it. I don't want to say it because I get in trouble with the Tiki Talk, and I don't want to make them mad this early. We haven't been banned yet. Jen says, thanks for such quality shows. Appreciate all you do. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for such quality comments. I appreciate all that you do. Moving on. All right, white guys, we got this today. Today's our day. Today we're going to be, everybody's going to leave this chat and be like, hey, the white guys were on good behavior today. I'm proud of the white guys today. We got this. This is this Stephen A? I think is this a Stephen A clip? No. Oh, no, this is the introduction. This was what Donald Trump's doing yesterday. For years, oh, by the way, after complaining about like Democrat corruption all day long, for years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents and anyone who disagreed with them. One of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after highly respected Congressman Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman and even the congressman's wonderful wife, Imelda, simply for speaking the truth. It's un-American, and as I previously stated, the radical left Democrats are a complete and total threat to democracy. They will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far left agenda. Somebody got to tell Trump that white guys are going to be a little better today. This is a lot of whining. An agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of my beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Imelda. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over. Your president is pardoning criminal Democrats. What are we going to do about that? How do we address this with you folks? He was charged for bribery. He didn't. By the way, he didn't vote for Trump. They didn't vote on that bill. But U.S. President Trump has said he'll pardon Henry Cuellar, who was charged last year with accepting $600,000 in bribes. $600,000. On Wednesday, Cuellar filed for re-election as a Democrat. Didn't decide to go Republican anyways. Biden Justice Department alleged that Cuellar, who has been representing Texas's 28th congressional district since 2005, illicitly received money from an Azerbaijani government-owned oil company and a Mexican bank. The indictment alleged that in exchange for money, Cuellar agreed to influence U.S. foreign policy in favor of Azerbaijan and to advocate for measures that would benefit the Mexico City Bank. What was it about Azerbaijan that Trump? Was it just the war? I just remember him saying Azerbaijan a bunch. Companies owned by Imelda Cuellar allegedly laundered the money, which the family used to pay off debts and make purchases. Among them was $58,000 in credit card payments, $18,000 at wholesale stores, shout out Costco, I guess, and $12,000 for a custom gown. Couple faced charges of conspiracy, bribery, wire fraud, money laundering, and violating a ban on acting as agents of foreign organization. The foreign bribes. And Trump just pardoned him. That's pretty cool. You guys, you're pardoning any criminal. Trump will pardon. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, he'll just pardon you if you're a criminal, I guess. If I was a Democrat being investigated by him, I would just be like, if I want to get a pardon, if he investigates me, I'll just be like, I was wrong and Donald Trump is the king. He is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ and he'll pardon you. What are you thinking about that, Republicans? What do you think about him taking these Democrat fraudsters, who we all abandoned, by the way? We said, get him out of there. How do you feel about that today? It is a very Republican thing to do, crew. Reaching across the aisle. Yeah, true. Finally, Trump says, I have something in common with these Democrats. Bribery. Biden's pardons? Seriously? Yeah, seriously. Give me an example of a Biden pardon that was like this. Proud Atheist, yeah. Hey, Proud Atheist, good to see you. You think it's bad? Good. Conservatives aren't happy with him? What are conservatives mad at Trump about today? I didn't know. I missed that on Twitter, at least. I didn't see them upset with Trump on Twitter. Trump allegedly renamed the U.S. Institute of Peace after himself. Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Here's Stephen A. Smith cheerleading this. Somebody got mad at me on Twitter. I don't remember what I said. There it is. I said letting criminals off the hook is brilliant. And they said a lone voice for reason on the left, and all you have is snark. You deserve to lose forever. He's pardoning criminals. He's pardoning criminals from the Democratic Party. And this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
How do the Democrats look when they now try to attack Trump because they say he pays no attention to the facts? How do they look now when they say he doesn't provide leadership? How do they sound now when they accuse him of lawlessness? I mean, at some
And what do we do when we accuse him of lawlessness? I don't know. We look at these members of Congress that were pardoned by Trump. Chris Collins, Republican from New York, pardoned for insider trading. Duncan Hunter, Republican from California, campaign corruption. Steve Stockman, campaign corruption. Rick Renzi from Arizona, corruption. Robin Hayes, lying to the FBI. Mark Siljander, obstruction and lying. Duke Cunningham, bribery. Michael Grimm, tax evasion. John Rowland, corruption. George Santos, corruption. Rod Blagojevich, corruption. Henry Cuellar, bribery, corruption. I don't know. Why is this draining the swamp? We're going to drain the swamp. How are you going to do that? Anybody who gets convicted from the swamp gets a pardon. Oh, okay. Where are you guys today? Nancy Pelosi was pardoned for insider trading. No, what? You guys are a mess. It's funny to see like multiple of you say Pelosi immediately. I just want to know why he's pardoning these people. I agree that Nancy Pelosi should be investigated for insider trading, but like, why is Trump pardoning all of these criminals? Yeah, Hunter corruption, Fauci corruption, whatever, Philly. Like, are any of you guys going to answer this question? Why is Trump pardoning all of these criminals? Are we going to have to ban the word Biden again today? Don't make us ban the word Biden again today because you guys won't answer questions.
At one point in time, we just have to give the man credit.
Yeah.
He's shrewd as hell.
He's so shrewd.
He really is. I mean, he is giving the Democratic Party lessons. Lessons. I mean, school is in session on how to manipulate minds.
Well, what the? He's teaching you guys how to manipulate and how to be corrupt. Yeah, we don't want that. That's why he didn't get a pardon from Biden.
Coax folks into thinking along the lines.
Why do we care? Bro, we're Americans. We live in this country. We don't like watching our country like literally fall apart. Well, I don't like that our president pardons a bunch of criminals. I'm sorry that we're not blowing him. My bad. I don't want to hear any of you guys about rent-free today. You're in my fucking live watching me talk about him. Don't talk to me about rent-free. He's the president and I cover politics. What would you like me to cover? Don't cover the president. Only cover Democrats. Well, right now we're covering a Democrat. Covering a Democrat right now. A corrupt one. It just so happens to be that the other part of the story is that the corrupt Democrat now is being let off the hook because Trump pardoned him.
His way of thinking. You can't sit up there and talk about how everything is partisan when the man sits up there and lets you off the hook and you're on the opposite party. Now, granted, that same representative, Queller, was the same guy that spoke out against the Biden administration when it came to immigration issues in our border.
Yeah, that list earlier. Sorry, it looked like a list of Trump's hobbies when we were reading. I think that was when we were reading Brian Cole's resume.
So again, that falls in line with Trump, and we get that part, but he's still a Democrat. He's still somebody, if we're watching and paying attention to the politics that have been pervasive in our country over the last decade or so, everybody's voting along party lines. Now, all of a sudden, when that man has to stand up and vote on certain issues,
You're a straight shooter, Stephen A. here.
are you sure he's not going to vote in favor of Trump?
Yeah, I'm sure, because he's not in office. How's everybody on your side of the aisle a fucking idiot? He's not in office. You think he's going to win? Think he's going to win his seat back? Yeah, don't cover the most influential person in the world. Talk about Hunter Biden some more.
If he wins re-election and he ends up back to being a representative, are you sure he's going to side with the Democrats?
No, that's why he's not going to win.
How much support do you need? What have I been saying about the Democrats? Get away from the far left, move towards the center.
The center is what? Fraud? Is that what the center is? Fraud and corruption? Money laundering? What have I been saying about this? Stop talking about universal health care. Stop talking about getting money out of politics. Move to the middle with the fraud and corruption. Live in the real world. I'm straight shooter, Stephen A. Smith.
And Trump beat him to it. He beat him to it. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely, positively brilliant politics.
Brilliant.
Nothing compares.
Yeah. We're broken. We're just fucking broken. I know Stephen A. Smith isn't like a political genius, but Jesus Christ. How did you even come up with that take? Well, I don't know why I have a problem with Stephen A. Because Stephen A's never been in politics. Are you just assuming because he's black and he says he used to be on the left? Stephen A., nobody has ever given a fuck about Stephen A. Smith's political opinion. He only started talking about politics once Trump came around. And all his buddies are just, he runs around with that same crew. A bunch of like establishment media types, the ones that you all hate. And now they all realize that the Democratic Party doesn't care about him anymore. Chris Cuomo, all the News Nation people. And now he's got this show where we're supposed to care about his political opinions. If it gets a lot of views, I'm going to play it. We're going to laugh at it. He was on The View today. Stephen A. was? Cool. It's a cool show. Also, stop saying The View is the left, too. They don't need to talk about politics either. Speaking of Chris Cuomo, this is the problem with all of these people. I don't think you can be on the right, which Chris Cuomo is. Let's not pretend that Chris Cuomo's on the left anymore. But you can't be anywhere near the middle or the right without just blatantly lying. Here he is with Brian Tyler Cohen. I think this was on Cuomo's show. And this dude's lost it.
Okay, I know I'm a white guy. Okay, I know. I'm not saying anything but that. My father was not.
Are you? This is insane. Hold on. AXA TV just said, just because you can't afford life doesn't mean you can take away our family money. That money you tax us. It prevents us from having kids. That's genocide. God damn it. Guys, I asked Alex, please don't be a white dude. I asked white dudes to not be whiny bitches today. Please tell me you're not a white dude. Please. We can't have you today. We can no white dude bitching today.
Considered a white guy. He was considered an ethnic. Okay.
Yeah.
He had that other thing going. He was an other. And he hated it. And he hated the people who got to decide that and who kept opportunities from him. So he was a real one. Okay. But he loved the fucking country. That's the part that you guys, in my opinion, don't get right. I don't believe AOC burn any of your horses.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing they love the country. I think they hate more about it than they love about it. And that may be unfair.
Yeah.
But if it is unfair, it's because of how they've made their own case about themselves.
It was funny when I was in high school, I wrote a paper on why it should be illegal to burn the US flag. Like, very conservative position, very patriotic position.
AXA, you have done nothing but whine this whole time. Shut the fuck up. You're making all human beings look bad. And yes, I can say I can say white. I can say white, but God, dude, you have been here for, how long is it? 30 minutes, and you have nonstop complained for 30 straight fucking minutes. Get it together, bud. Get it the fuck together. He said white. Ah!
And I think we're grown up, that we're raised in an environment, and we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a lot of like, American patriotism, jingoism, whatever it is, when you're raised in America. And I know that, by the way, because I taught in France for a couple years, and the notion of standing up and pledging allegiance to the flag is so creepy, weird, and foreign to them.
One of the dumbest things we do. It is so fucking dumb. There's nothing that I could think of that's like more strange as a country that we do is pledging allegiance to a flag. The fuck? Why do we pledge allegiance to a flag? It doesn't even make sense. How do you pledge allegiance to a flag? I don't even. It's so weird. It's everything you learn not to do, like with cults. If you join a cult and they tell you that you have to pledge allegiance to an object, don't do it. Unless it's America, then we pledge allegiance. Didn't we start doing that in like the 50s? It's just a weird thing. Why are people so obsessed with like saying, I love this country, I love this flag? First of all, Cuomo's wrong, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. This is a lie that is perpetuated by the right. Because they don't say anything. All they ever say is, I love my country. But when the right says, I love my country, they really just mean, like, I love Donald Trump. I love MAGA. I love my country. Fuck the left. Well, they're a part of your country, too. You can't really be the people that are like, you don't love your country. But you, for 4 years, just sat there and bitched. For 4 years, just bitched and bitched and bitched. And then when we show up and we bitch, then you're like, how dare you? You need to love your country. Axe has got to be muted for a while. You got to take a break, dude. Don't fucking touch grass.
That they couldn't wrap their heads around it when I explained that this is what we do from like age.
And Telos TV's got to take a mute too. Go take a lap. Both of you guys go touch grass.
7 up until 18. I mean, hell, we do it at baseball games when you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 years old. So we're raised in an environment where we are supposed to be as patriotic as possible, but it's hard because.
We're in the middle of a mods. Anybody who's spamming block. What's happening right now is they send in a bunch of bots, and it makes my engagement suddenly spike, and then YouTube will suppress me in the algorithm. So mods,
we're on it. We got it.
Okay.
We got bot farms coming. That's what it is, and they're all popping in on different. All right, we see it. We got it.
Thanks.
Because I think that there comes a point. Look, I think it's fair to say that there is a lot in this country that doesn't work for regular people. And I don't think it makes you unpatriotic to be able to acknowledge that. I think it makes you patriotic to be able to recognize that we can and should do better, and that we deserve better, and that America could be better. And so there's towing that line of like, for the people for whom that kind of shallow display of patriotism is important, you're right. We've ceded that ground to the other side. But I think that there is some virtue in being able to acknowledge that, like, we shouldn't be in a world where we accept the scraps that are given to us, where every tax cut is heaped upon the ultra wealthy.
But it's about how. It's about how. Right. And you're right. But look, here's my point. Why are people surprised when they see an American flag on my truck or in front of my house? Why were the Democrats?
I don't think anybody is. Nobody fucking cares about this. This is, again, like I asked white dudes not to be bitches today. Here we go. Why are people upset that I fly a flag? Nobody fucking cares. Literally, I've never been in a discussion with anybody on the left where we talk about the fact that you fly a flag. We've talked about the people that fly the flag in their truck and it rips the flag. And you're like, wait a minute, you're respecting the flag, but it's also being ripped by driving down the street. Like, you're just an asshole. Yeah, exactly. There's American flags everywhere. I don't fly flags, period. But like, this dude, like, it's being a white dude in America is just making shit up that nobody fucking cares about or is talking about, and then pretending that you're a victim and everybody cares about it.
That's okay with that becoming a party symbol for the GOP.
Yeah.
you are absolutely right, and every political philosopher has only agreed with you that dissent and criticism of your government is one of the strongest forms of patriotism. I don't even think that's really an open question. However, well, what do you balance it with? When's the last time you heard Democrats say something good about this country? Yeah. That's true too. Yeah. And I think it goes to your point.
For 4 years, Republicans didn't say anything good about the country. For 4 years. There was none of this from him. Criticizing your country is perhaps the most patriotic thing you could do. Sucking the country's dick is dumb. Blowing the country is dumb. Holding your leaders accountable, advocating for a better country, that is patriotic. I don't care about like telling, walking around with, this is the best country on earth. Who cares? It's the same as like anybody just like bragging all the time. Nobody gives a fuck about that. That is a silly way to live your life. Amy said, if you respect the flag, then you wouldn't put it on your shirt or fly it in the back of your truck or put Trump on it. Illusion said, you brought tears of pride to my eyes. My sons have chosen not to stand and say the pledge every morning on their own. It makes me very proud. Marty said, if Trump had a problem with the prosecution of JOH, why did he make the prosecutor a judge? Good question.
About, hey man, you gotta play the game where it stands. I think that a real one who hates certain things that were done to them, systemic, cultural, and is fighting to change it because they believe so much in what this country can be is at her best. That's the sweet spot.
Oh, it is?
I can't.
All right, let's talk about it, you dumb bitch. See what he just said there? Talking about what you can change and then also about like what you love and what you hope to see from America. That's the sweet spot. That's the thing he's saying that AOC and Democrat leaders aren't doing.
Think of the last time I heard AOC say something good about the country.
Great. Somebody go get your boy Google. Took me about 3 seconds. Here's AOC.
I saw there was a little bus running around with a Trump sign on it saying proud to be an American. Well, I want to let you know the America that I'm proud of. The America that I'm proud of is right here in front of us. It's an America that believes in freedom, true freedom. Not just freedom of speech, which of course we support, but also the economic freedoms to live in dignity. The freedom that's afforded to us when we are paid a living wage. The freedom to put food on our table and send our kids to a safe school. And the freedom to organize and make sure that our voices are heard at the ballot box. Plattsburgh, we are here because every town, every city, every neighborhood in this state matters. Every corner matters. No one deserves to be ignored. No one deserves to have their voice taken out, and everyone, every community deserves to have folks shown up for them. Thank you all so much.
Who was that said that? I'll give a challenge here. Who was it that said Democrat here? Bobby Bigelow. Democrat here, can't stand AOC. Give me something concrete. Tell me why you don't like AOC. I have this conversation with people all the time. I had this conversation with a good friend the other day. I don't think you know why you don't like AOC. And honestly, I think that it's probably misogyny. And sometimes it's internalized misogyny. Tell me one thing you have a problem with that AOC did. I'd love to hear it. She's great. Let me know if Bobby Bigelow comes back. But it's not just AOC. This is a lie. This is a lie that Republicans tell all the time, and it seeps its way into like Stephen A. and his dipshit friend Cuomo there. How about Ilhan Omar? I don't know if Admir's here, but I talked to Admir yesterday because Admir put up a bullshit post the other day about how Ilhan Omar pledged her allegiance to Somalia, which is a lie. It's based on a mistranslation of a video that they watched, and she didn't do that. But what does she say that she loves America? All right, Bobby, just tell me what you don't like about, I'll watch for your comment. Tell me what you don't like about AOC. Something concrete. Oh, is this muted?
Clickbait.
Why do you think Nancy Mace is targeting you as much as she is?
It's an easy clickbait. There is a lot of hate in this country for Muslims. There's a lot of hate in this country for black people, especially black women. And there is a lot of hate, severe hate for immigrants. And so I fit the mold. She knows that she can easily raise money and get support for her bigotry from her bigoted, the bigoted people who want to give money to her campaign. But the reality is, in this country, the First Amendment does not only protect speech, it protects the right and liberty for anybody to practice their faith. I do practice the Muslim faith. I am an immigrant. I am proud of both of those things. And I was, of course, born in Somalia, which the president likes to mention. And
She just said she's proud to be an American. She's proud that she's an immigrant. She's proud to be an American. She's proud of the freedom of speech that allows her to practice her faith and allows Marjorie Taylor Greene to practice her faith. And we're watching just all I have to do to piss off white dude conservatives is put up a video of AOC and then put up a video of Ilhan Omar. If you're a conservative woman and you're watching this, like, take notes. They just don't like that you're a woman. There's just this rage that boils up in conservative men when women refuse to, like, play the role that you want them to play.
also proud of my Somali heritage.
How could an immigrant be in office? You win an election, Patrick. That's how.
And that is not something that they can take away from me. And I just want to say, one thing that the president should understand is that you can't impeach a sitting member of Congress. And it is unfortunate that the members of Congress have not educated their uneducated president about how things work in Congress.
Yeah, that's a good question, Fenderchick. How can a felon be in office? Well, the thing is criminals don't bother me so much. It's just people who look different. Yeah, Larry, we know. She's a Democrat. Larry's too stupid to come up with his own thoughts, so he just blindly does party politics. Oh, I don't know how to substantiate an argument, so Democrat bad. Did we get an answer from Bobby? Scrolling up there, Bobby. Did you notice how, if you're in the YouTube chat, did you notice how not a single one of these of my pathetic white brethren can come up with anything other than xenophobia? No, Bobby? Nothing yet? It's all right, dude. Just maybe ChatGPT at Grokkit or something. Maybe they could help you figure out why you don't like AOC. What about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris ever talk about being proud? You'll notice I played 3 women in a row. There's a tweet from Kamala Harris. When you love something, you fight for it, and I love this country with all my heart. She never says it. She never says she's proud to be an American. All she does is complain. I watched 2 hours of Donald Trump complain about America while he's in charge. He's in charge. His friends are running Congress. His other friends are running the judicial branch. And he sat there and complained for 2 fucking hours. All you guys know at this point is complaining. It's all you're doing in the chat. It's all you do every fucking day. Immigrants. Democrats. I can't believe that you guys don't support murder and genocide. Nothing from Bobby still? All right. Moving on. Let's talk about this psycho. Another just little bitch boy. This is a like a billionaire bitch boy now. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard anybody say. And I don't mean dumb because I disagree with it. I mean dumb because he literally claims to be a progressive and then explains why he's not a progressive. This is Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir. and progressively coming out of a wind tunnel. Listen to him tell you why he's still somehow a progressive.
Interrupt you immediately. I didn't shift my politics. The political parties have shifted their politics.
True. That part's true. The political parties have shifted their politics. One party has stayed exactly the same since Ronald Reagan, and the other one has progressed.
The idea that what's being called progressive is in any way progressive is a complete farce. I've been progressive since the beginning of Palantir. I'm continue to be progressive. I grew up in a highly intellectual, mostly Jewish, incredibly left-wing environment. And every Saturday and every Friday, I heard a lecture about how the conservatives are going to destroy this country with illegal immigration because it's going to undermine the fabric of the American worker. That was 50 years ago. That's what it means to be a progressive. And being a progressive doesn't mean just, it's.
So you hold the exact same views you held 50 years ago? That's called conservatism, dipshit. That's the opposite of progressive. You're explaining what conservatism is. I don't ever change. New information comes up, I don't change. You're not a progressive. Like, you might have been progressive at your time. Your family might have been progressive at their... You're not. You literally just explained what conservatism is, and you're like, I'm a progressive because I'm a conservative.
It feels so good to be involved in dysfunction, things that can never work, a form of socialism that's never worked, having no meritocracy. That's not progressive. That's honestly cowardly. And most people on...
Illegal immigration is a net benefit to the taxpayers of the United States of America. We make more money off of people who are here illegally than we spend. So just look something up one fucking time ever. And now that that argument's gone, you'll do what all of you do. You'll be like, oh, but I just don't like them. That was my argument the whole time. I've debated enough of you that, and one's smarter than you. All of your best debaters, I've debated every one of them. And when we discuss the finances and when we discuss the economic impact of illegal immigration, they concede the argument and they want to talk about their feelings. You don't care about taxpayer money. You're lying. If you did, you'd look it up and you'd realize that we're losing money by getting rid of people who are here illegally. You just don't want them here.
Half my old party knows it. They don't speak up. It's bullshit. It will never work. And it does not help. You know, the biggest problem with that is it's not helping the poor people that they claim to serve. If you think that's helping a black person in the inner city, you're ridiculous. The last thing anyone in this country needs is a dysfunctional educational system and handouts that have never worked and are not going to work.
Now he's going to talk about, like, this is a weird thing for somebody like Alex Karp to do, who is single-handedly helping ICE fill for-profit prisons. He has the audacity to then say this.
You have 1% of the country in prison, 1% who were in prison and therefore have no rights. Do you know what happens to you when you go to prison?
I'd like to point out that some of the MAGA folks here, now they're all fucked up because this guy's speaking what they want to say, but he's also Jewish. So they're like, shit, I need to be anti-Semitic even though he's espousing my ideology. What am I going to choose first? Am I going to side with this Jewish man who says what I think? No, I'm going to be anti-Semitic. You guys are so fucking pathetic.
They take you away from your kids. You know who that happens to? Disproportionately working class, disproportionately black and Hispanic men and white men in the underclass. Where are the thousands of articles about them? Nobody cares, and they don't care because it does not either serve the ability.
If you Google the articles about prison reform, you will see that there are thousands of articles about this, and they all come from the left. You want to talk about politicians? Obama ran on reducing sentencing disparities. He ran on combating racial profiling, expanding second chance programs. He used clemency and DOJ policy to push sentencing reform the whole time he was in office. Then Trump came in, and this was the crazy one. Trump came in and he signed the First Step Act, which he takes credit for, but it was a bipartisan bill passed through the Senate. He signed it. He didn't write it. He didn't run on it, but he signed it. And now he's completely backed off of it. 2016, that was cool. Now he's like, oh, we need harsher sentencing. Remember, on his way, his first administration I don't remember the lady's name, but he pardoned somebody that was in jail, or gave clemency to somebody who was in jail for a life sentence for like weed charges. And then while he campaigned, he's like, if you get caught with possession, then you should go to prison for life. He completely flipped. Like, he couldn't even last an entire administration with that. And he saw too many people not being thrown in jail, and he's abandoned that. But Biden ran on ending federal private prison contracts, eliminating incarceration for use alone. And then he expanded reentry support and treatment. Kamala Harris in 2020, as she was ran on abolishing mandatory minimums. She also ran on expanding clemency, creating federal oversight of police shootings. John Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, runs on prison reform. Congresswoman Lucy McBath, also from Georgia, she sponsored the Federal Prison Oversight Act. Congressman Bobby Scott from Virginia. Amy Klobuchar, Kamala Harris. In fact, I was looking for a Republican who was advocating for prison reform, and the only one I could find was Elise Stefanik. And then I went to her website because she's like, I'm advocating for prison reform. I was like, okay, that's cool. Maybe Elise Stefanik is figuring this out. Go to her website, and it says, as the representative of the Federal Bureaus of Prison, Ray Brook, I am proud to join my colleagues as a member of the Bureau of Prisons Reform Caucus to address what? The significant challenges our hardworking correctional officers are facing, such as low staffing and retention issues. Oh, I'm going to feed more money to them and give more money to private prisons. Stacey Abrams, that's a good point there too. Yeah. What he's saying here is bizarre because he's like, who is speaking about this? Democrats. Democrats. But you're wrong. Guess what? I've got Holly talking about the no tax on healthcare expenses on my, watch this. I look forward to your apology here. We're not going to cover that yet, but look at this. How about you go and fuck yourself?
Said for months now, listen, I'm open
I'll take
to proposals.
that apology
I'm
now.
open to any.
I'm going to talk about all your guys' dumbass healthcare policies. Where's that apology? Where'd you go? But you're wrong. We're going to wait for but you're wrong to tell me sorry. You won't play this. Whoops. I'm not talking about crime. I'm talking about prison reform. I'm talking about what he's talking about. You guys are talking about locking people up all the time. I agree. I don't like, you and I are different. You want to lock more people up. I want less people to be in jail. But Alex Karp here is saying that nobody's advocating for this, and I'm trying to help Alex Karp understand that maybe he's looking in the wrong places.
Where are the thousands of articles about them? Nobody cares, and they don't care because it does not either serve the ability, the desire to force me to vote for one party, which basically takes away all my power. That's effectually what it does. If I agree to say this is the worst thing in the world, I essentially have given up my vote. My vote is not for you. My vote is for these two issues. The second.
Why would we talk about the Epstein files? We voted. They're getting released. Now we're just waiting on the FBI to release them. The vote already happened. God, you guys, I swear to God, you have a collective IQ, MAGA, of 6. I swear to your whole life, you just wake up every day and you're like, let me figure out whatever this guy's not talking about, we're going to bring up. We won that battle. You guys lost that battle. You tried to hide the Epstein files. We forced you to do it. American sentiment sided with the Democrats. We forced a vote. The vote happened. Now they're coming out. You guys aren't talking about it anymore. Yeah, no shit. We accomplished it, and now we're moving on to other things that we're trying to accomplish. And I'm still waiting for that apology, by the way.
The reason they don't care is because somehow no one has empathy with any of those people because none of us really deal with those people. At Palantir, we are on the side of working class Americans. We support people who go to the military. We save their lives. We bring them home safer. Our AI actually makes workers more wealthy, more valuable, and the 10 to 15 million.
The FBI has to release them. Jesus Christ, are you guys all this fucking dumb? They have no choice. The Justice Department has to release the files. There's no choice. That's what the vote was for. Who do you guys watch? Where do you get your information? How do you know literally nothing?
People that love me despite what's written. Half of them made a lot of money on us. And you know what they're like? They're like people like me who think, you know what? We have to do better. Of course we have to do better.
What do you say?
We don't know. I'm not going to get that apology, I guess. Do I think conservatives are Trump supporters? No, I'm talking about Trump supporters. I don't think that there's really what are you conserving though? If you're not a Trump supporter, what is it that you don't support Trump on as a conservative? That's fine. You can be in the middle, but I think that most of you are just Trump supporters. I don't know what you're conserving, however. Were you conserving trickle-down economics? It's 50 years of data tells us it's a failure. I don't know. I legitimately, what do you want to conserve? All right. Scroll back up here. Jen, any update on the pipe bomber? Will you look? That was my next story, but we already covered that. This is coming out of Virginia now. Republicans fucked up when they followed Donald Trump's orders to redistrict. Most of their maps have been shut down. Looks like Democrats just by redistricting are going to pick up, I think it's 3 seats. And now Virginia's getting in, and Virginia may now redistrict.
Tell us a little bit about how you think that's going to go here, and if you can give us any hints about how it will play out.
Well, first of all, we got to realize, we didn't want to have to do this. This was done because Donald Trump told Texas, Indiana, North Carolina, our neighbors, to rig their election and make sure his policies are so unpopular, he couldn't win the midterm. So he's rigging it, redrawing those states' maps, and basically disenfranchising Virginians.
Let me be clear on this. Democrats always redistrict, and so do conservatives. What Trump did, and the claim that I'm making here is Trump convinced Texas to go outside the norms and redistrict in the middle of a 10-year window when they're usually you redistrict every 10 years, or you at least look at the census. And Trump convinced Texas to abandon that rule. And that gave permission to everybody else to do it. And the problem that Republicans have in this country is that you're outnumbered. You can look all you want at votes. You can look at the last election, but just statistically, you're outnumbered. And we can redistrict you out. We can make it so that you'll never have a majority. And I don't like this. I hate this. I wish that nobody was doing this. But you have Donald Trump to blame now. I'm against this. I'm against California doing it. I'm against Texas doing it. I'm against North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia doing it. But you fucked it up. Donald Trump fucked this up for you guys. Nobody was talking about doing this until Trump got Texas to do it. So when you lose seats and you want to blame Democrats, and you will, and you'll never blame Trump for anything, just remember why this started.
Because in disenfranchising other parts of the country, who now their voices won't be heard. Their voices will be minimized because he's rigging the election. And so, I don't know how y'all did, but I grew up in 3rd Ward in Houston, and if a bully came and punched you in the mouth, you didn't sit there and cry. You better punch back unless you're going to keep getting punched. And that's where we are right now. We have a bully, and he has a bully pulpit, and he's bullying these folks in these states to change the rules. And so we have an opportunity, we have an obligation, I think, to stand up and do something different. And
how are you outnumbered? Because the most populated states are blue states, and they could redistrict Republican votes out of it. There's not, your red states aren't populated enough to redistrict enough people out. California has the most representation. So if California redistricts, and Wyoming redistricts, and Wyoming makes it all red, and California makes it all blue, you've lost. You guys don't have heavily populated states. This is it's just math. They can change the districts, and they can split your votes so that you don't win. That's how. I know that math is not something that you guys like. I think that's DEI or woke or something. I'm telling you things that are just true.
Virginia, because we have this trifecta, we have an opportunity to do some redistricting, to look at redrawing the maps. Our congressional delegation right now is 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. 10-1 is not out of the realm. And I think, You laugh. No, I'm
well,
not joking.
I think it's a
no, 10-1
round number.
10-1 is not out of the realm to be able to draw the maps in a succinct, community-based way. But we're going to take a look at it. We have to.
What are you telling me to cope for? I'm fighting on your side. You guys are too dumb to know when I'm like advocating for you. I'm saying I don't like this. I'm saying that we shouldn't do this. I want you guys to have a voice. I don't want the system to be rigged. I'm arguing on your side, and because you just view me as on the other side, you're arguing with me. You lost the blacks and Hispanics and Jews. Oh, we did? All right, let's look at that. Let's look at the 2024 election black vote. Let's see. Trump won 15% of black voters. Again, I know math isn't like your thing, but that leaves 85%. So they didn't lose that. That what did we say? Latino vote? Harris had a majority there too. Whoops. What was the other one you said? Jewish vote? This one's kind of harder. Harris got between 63 and 71%. So literally those things that you said that they lost, or that we lost, we won all of those. And all of those have shifted back towards the left because of Donald Trump's dumbass policies. So, I mean, good try.
With the Congress right now is like a 3-vote difference. And so if he keeps rigging these things by 1 and 2s and 3s, we have to push back. And so right now, Virginia's going to have an opportunity. We have a long process to do that. Ultimately, the voters decide. The legislature, we have to make a constitution.
Dems don't win elections. They steal. They also embezzle and launder billions of dollars. And then Donald Trump pardons them. Yay! That's how we started this show off. Donald Trump pardoning a Democrat criminal.
Amendment. We've already voted for the first resolution. In Virginia, you have to vote for it twice with an intervening election. So we voted for it once. We had a
TikTok ended? Oh, we did? Happened to TikTok. Look. Every fucking day. I don't think I'll have a TikTok account much longer.
Yeah, it did. I'm looking at it right now.
What'd they get me for today? Yep. It's same thing every day. Every time we play, if I play too many videos of conservatives, TikTok takes me down for misinformation.
election. We'll vote for it again, more than likely on January 14th. That's why I say things happen fast. And then once we do that, we'll set a date, pass some legislation to set a date for an election to happen on whether we should adopt that proposed constitutional amendment to allow us to do.
All right, anyways, we'll end it there. This is a bad move you guys did. I don't like it. I'm fighting for you, MAGA. I'm fighting for you, conservatives. I want you to have, I think that everybody in this country should have, should be equally represented. And you fucked this one up, and now you're not going to be equally represented. And I'll advocate for you guys if we reverse all of these. I'll advocate for that too. But I don't know what to tell you. You got to talk to your boy Trump. This could go very, very poorly for you. You're down 3 seats so far. So far, that's the actual math. Is that it might be 4, but I think it's 3. No, it's 3. No, it's 4 because it's 3 plus then the Utah one. It's 4. You've lost 4 seats as Trump did this took up this battle. So, just trying to help you. Trying to help you have a voice, even though I think your voice is stupid. Still think you deserve one. Let's talk about. We haven't talked about Israel for a while. Netanyahu, first of all, said he's just going to come to New York and he's going to try and call
whether you like that.
Mamdani's bluff, which would be an absolute nightmare. I don't know why we want Netanyahu in New York. And if Mamdani arrests him, then of course Trump's going to come in. That will be an absolute nightmare. But now, as they work towards a peace plan, listen to who Netanyahu's advocating should run Palestine now.
Let me ask you a separate question.
Or I guess Gaza.
And then the Palestinian Authority, whether you like them or not, is, I think right now, the legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. And you cooperate with them in the West Bank on security, for example. And so the question is, why wouldn't you cooperate with them on the civil administration of Gaza?
I think the Palestinian Authority was in Gaza. We've already tried that. And they were kicked out summarily. They're very corrupt. They're
voted out.
They've never had elections. You know, I go to elections every few years. I'm happy that I win them. But we have a free society and people make up their minds. That's not what happens in the, in Judea, Samaria, the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority just doesn't have elections. They have this petrified structure. And it's true. I said to my people, no, we're not going to bring them down, even though I have a lot of people who are egging me to do that. But we'll keep them at bay. And the most important thing is we'll demand genuine reforms. They cannot teach their children to become suicide bombers. They cannot pay for slay. They cannot pay terrorists to kill more Jews. They cannot call their government buildings against mass murderers of Jews. I'm sitting in our government building right now. It's not named after mass murderers. In fact, when we had a case of a Jew who came into a mosque and just killed people at random, deliberately, we all condemned it. I condemned it. That's not what they do. Oops. They lord it over. They say it's...
He's talking about, what was their name? Shit. I'll pull it up while I forgot the name. Was it the Baruch Goldstein massacre? And he's saying that like everybody in Israel condemned it, but they didn't. Like there's every year there's like a pilgrimage to that gravesite for Jewish extremists, for the anti-Palestinian Jewish extremists. Ben Gvir, who's the national security minister, openly praises Goldstein as a hero. This is a lie. Like, again, there's always these different rules with Netanyahu. Netanyahu says we can't have the folks in Gaza govern themselves because some of them say that they openly despise Jewish people. And we would never do that over here in Israel. We would never do any of that. But they do that in Israel. They just don't do anything about it. It's only a problem if it's the Palestinians.
Great. So that's not a partner for peace. But I think there are other possibilities, and I think we'll get Palestinians who really want a future to take over Gaza eventually. And by the way, right now there are Palestinians in Gaza who are fighting Hamas because they say enough of this tyranny of terror. And these people, they don't want the PA, the Palestinian Authority. They don't want Hamas. They want to be the masters of their own destiny.
So there's at least 5 like roaming gangs, and we've shown you videos of them, like people just going in. Remember the video I showed you a couple weeks ago? We won't show again because we got in trouble, but of the Zionists coming in and just like beating people with sticks. Israel's been funding at least 5 that they know of, like gangs. And that's who he's now talking about. Like Israeli-funded gangs is who he's saying needs to now govern Gaza.
And I think we should give him a chance.
Yeah, we got to just give him a chance. That guy's sick. War criminal. I think can we agree on this? Where's my MAGA folks here? Can we not agree that guy fucking sucks? Can we do that? Can we all agree that Netanyahu, let's see if we can have a moment of coming together here. Not in that way, but like, can we just agree Netanyahu sucks? And that maybe we shouldn't have Netanyahu be deciding who governs Gaza? Can we do that? Fucking sucks, donkey dick. Yeah, Netanyahu and Trump do kind of speak similarly a little bit. Netanyahu's better at speaking. He does like full sentences and stuff, but are you long pressing on the comments you want to reply? Oh, that's not for me. All right. Moving on. We haven't talked about Israel for a while. I need to cover a bunch of stuff next week. We've been ignoring that for far too long. This is probably the biggest story of today. It's a woman in I'm trying to remember what state this was in. Florida. Driving to work in her scrubs, just a nurse, gets pulled over by the police and ICE, and their justification, according to them, for ripping her out of this car is that she did not roll down her window far enough. Now you can see how far her windows rolled down right now. I don't know. I don't live in Florida. I know there's some folks here that live in Florida. How fucking big are your driver's licenses that they can't fit through a gap that's big? And so naturally, ICE did this. The left can't meme. You're bragging about doing memes. That's embarrassing. Not yet, Rich. So that's natural for Florida Highway Patrol as well. Not a lot of love for Florida here today. Hold on, this is doing God's work? That woman's a citizen of the United States. God's work? Yeah, they just want to manhandle women. That's it. I have there's no doubt in my mind that, like, not only do they like abusing women to feel tough, but there's probably like a sexual element here too for these creeps. That's an American citizen right there that they're doing that to. Yeah, she was going to work as a nurse. I don't think I've lied a single time about an ICE video. What happens is we tell the truth and then DHS lies and you guys trust Kristi Noem. ICE has been, DHS and ICE in court, they get every single time, damn near, they lose. ICE, by the way, we're not even lying about this. ICE has confirmed that this is a citizen. This happened either yesterday or the day before. Woman on her way to work gets pulled over, dragged out of a car by masked agents who are not required to provide identification, thrown in the back of the car. We can't see what they're doing here. She's a citizen of the United States. What was her crime? Driving while looking Hispanic, potentially having an accent. And by the way, if you are an American citizen and ICE asks for your ID, you don't have to give it to them. They have no jurisdiction over you. They cannot ask you for your ID. That's where we're running into a problem here. They're not allowed to do any of this shit. Will they be held accountable? Of course they won't be held accountable. Oh, do we need to mute Danny? Is Danny trying to make me debate from the comments? Danny, I don't debate from the comments. And eventually, if you start pissing off everybody in the chat, if I see that's like the 10th person who said to come up here and debate, eventually you just get muted. You can talk to the people in the chat, but if you're going to try and debate me from the comments, they're going to get frustrated with you. And then that's going to annoy me. And then we just have to mute you for being a coward. Because you guys do this every day. Here's what they, DHS issued a statement claiming that she had initially refused to roll down her window all the way. And that's why she was dragged out of her car. She didn't roll down her window all the way, which she has no legal obligation to do. I think all these ICE incels are just cruising to grape these pretty girls that would never give them the time of day. 100%. 100%. They get, it's the only time they can get hard is when they're beating up women. Patrick is a bootlicker. That's true. We know Patrick enough that Patrick is like literally the bootlickiest of bootlickiest. Patrick, but you are a weird like bootlicking troll. Rich, here we are talking about Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent was interviewed by Aaron Sorkin at this same place that Netanyahu was interviewed. Gavin Newsom was also interviewed here. Alex Karp was interviewed here. I don't really know what
you've been talking
Deal Book Summit is, but I'll get to that. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. I need to update the goal, I know. But anything you do to help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the show would be greatly appreciated. Why Amy had said earlier, why if white you can be proud to be German, Norwegian, Scottish, or Irish, but if you have darker skin, you can't be proud of where you came from. It sucks. We know the answer to that. Everybody knows the answer to that. Oh, appeal approved on TikTok. Thanks, TikTok. Doesn't fucking matter. I goddamn hate TikTok. But while TikTok's not here, fuck that motherfucking app. They know exactly what they're doing. TikTok wants streamers like myself to only stream on TikTok. So if I use Streamlabs instead of TikTok Studio, they're going to ban me every single day until I capitulate. And they will shadow ban the fuck out of your account. Every day the last 2 weeks, there's been somebody comment on my video like, whoa, why am I not following you now? I've always followed you. That's weird. Fuck that motherfucking app. And also, 2 out of 3 videos are just ads now. That app sucks so goddamn bad. If I had it my way, I wouldn't be on TikTok, but Jen makes me. Since she's in charge, I have to keep going back on TikTok. But goddamn, that app sucks. All right, here's Aaron Sorkin.
Talking about is
and Scott Bessent.
That the regional presidents you think actually are not as independent unto themselves that you want.
Well, no,
I don't know why the music. Sorry.
I think when I was on Squawk Box last week, Becky said, "Well, Susan Collins at the Boston Fed says this," and that her people in her district are having an affordability problem. I should have said, well, she's in a red state. Affordability is worse. In a blue state, affordability is worse than a blue state.
That's where all the Republicans have been cutting this. And they're like, Scott Bessent owns Aaron Sorkin. Spit it out, too. Yeah. He's not very articulate.
You can debate that, but keep going.
No, there's no debate. The number 50 basis points higher inflation, the 10 highest.
Look at him. Watch Aaron Sorkin pull out the notes. He's like, fuck.
The inflation rates, they are in blue cities, but
just so you know, because I went to look at this. This is the Joint Economic Committee, since 2021. The highest inflation of the past 4 years has been in red states.
Hold on, let me change my argument real fast.
Especially Florida.
I'm talking about current.
Not over the past 4 years.
Right. Today.
I'm only talking about inflation in the last 24 hours. That's what we're talking about. Just today. We're only looking at today. You can't even pull that number. That's a crazy thing to say. That was a tough one. That's a tough look for Bessent there.
Okay. I would think 4 years would be a reasonable trend line to look at.
Today it is 50 basis points higher. So anyway, and look, the people were voting with.
I checked this morning, and it was 50 basis points higher. Don't fact check that. I just said it.
At their feet. I have the American people on my side. That New York, Illinois, California, Massachusetts are depopulating.
And they're going to places in Florida, like Florida, where interest rates are inflation's up 22% over the last 4 years.
Well, inflation is up 25% nationally, so it's lower.
I believe in New York it was 19%.
Sorry?
I believe in New York it was 19%.
I don't think that's right.
This is so bad. Literally, how did you get everything wrong? How did everything you say get fact-checked in real time?
You go through the math.
But
Abby Phillip, this is a talking point that's been sent out by Republicans. Abby Phillip was able to fact-check this on CNN without music, so I'll play that here. You can see the real numbers.
To this point, however, it's unclear exactly what evidence Bessent was citing in support.
You know what, Julie? I think he might be one of the smartest people in the cabinet, and that's what sucks. He's probably like top 3 smartest people in the cabinet. That's how bad the cabinet is.
His assertions. The Treasury Department didn't respond to a request for comment from CNN about that. But we looked into what Andrew Ross Orchid was talking about, and it's actually a report from a Republican committee that showed that, yeah, actually, the largest inflation increases
it's a
have been
13-way tie. They're all sharing the same 8 brain cells. This is tough. Largest inflation increases in the country from 2021 to 2020, December 2024. That's the last year we have full data. DC, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. That's 4 out of the 10. Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, West Virginia, South Carolina. I guess it's not 10. They're all just tied. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's 4? So it looks like it's worse than red. Tied for 10th largest inflation increases, plus 22.1%. Just under there. Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky. All above the national average. There's your 10. But Scott Bessent would have you tell you it's the blue states really that are so bad. Alarmingly missing here is California, New York, and Illinois. Aren't those the ones you guys always talk about? How'd that happen? Liberal hellholes. Where's Oregon? Where's Washington? Where's all these liberal hellholes you guys are talking about? What does this have? What do we have in common here? South, south, south. Borderline south, 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 south. The South will rise again. And we will rise by leading the country in inflation.
mostly in red states, tied for the 10th largest inflation increases. Look at those red states over there. So Scott Bessent was wrong, and if he was right, the Treasury Department's not jumping to
Yeah,
he was. Let me get Ronna.
He was struggling, and look, here's what we do know, and this is what's really important.
That's such a nice way to put it. He was struggling. He's out of his depth there. He really does struggle when he gets pressed. Scott Bessent, when he's just able to speak without pushback, he's okay. But give that guy a little pushback and he crumbles. Alicia said, "Happy Thursday." Just wanted to tell all the MAGA in the chat know that those of us in Canada laugh at what fucking idiots you all are. It's pathetic supporting your racist, transphobic, unintelligent president. Take that, MAGA. Shout out. That's shout out Canada.
Inflation was running at about 2% when Trump came in. It's now running at about 3%. All of the major things that would be fueling it, healthcare increases, going to go up next year. That's going to be a big deal. Tariffs still funneling through the system. We're beginning to see more increases. You're also seeing small businesses going under because they can't afford the tariff hikes. That actually disproportionately affects red states, by the way. Also, some of the things that, I have been for, like reindustrialization, bringing in more foreign investment into the U.S. in critical industries. Good thing longer term, inflationary short term, particularly when you don't see productivity increases. Building out AI. There's just a lot in this economy right now that is inflationary and isn't going to go away in the coming year.
The thing was just, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication there. Because Andrew was talking about...
This is what they all do with all Republicans. Well, what he meant wasn't, it's going to be unrelated.
4 years, and the Treasury Secretary was talking about 1 year. He's like, let's see where we were over the past...
No, he didn't say 1 year. He said today. Let's see, do we have inflation numbers by state for 2025? Let me look. I should have pulled this up earlier. Inflation by state 2025. Let's take a look here. CPI. Wonder. Joint Economic Committee, is this the one? That's 2021. Wonder if we have that. Let me try. See, maybe Perplexity can help me find this. See if they can do it. AI is hot garbage. AI is really great if you know what you're doing. That's such a dumb thing. It is hot garbage for most things. If for research, I'm a huge fan. It's helped me a ton. What happened here? Where did my search go? Oh, there we go. Cumulative extra costs. So what is this? The JEC provides a state-by-state inflation tracker using Bureau of Labor Statistics consumer price in. I'll just let you guys see this. Consumer price index data by census division, estimating cumulative extra costs for average families since January 2025 when Trump took office. For November, covering February, September data, the national average family paid $706 more due to inflation. Okay, so can we sort this? I wonder if can it sort it for me? Can you sort this table by sort this table highest to lowest? See if it can do that. Now we're gonna find out how good. Oh, there we go. Hey, how about that? Shout out for AI for doing something cool. All right, extra cost: California, Alaska, Hawaii, Colorado, Utah. So blue, red, blue, blue, red, blue, red, 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 blue, red, and that's total. So that wouldn't even be. Now you've got to factor in shit, because then you have to factor in cost of living. So you have to. I wonder if I can get a percentage, because it naturally would be higher in places where people make more money and rent is more expensive. Can we see any idea how we'd sort that? Can you sort percentage of increase from 2025? That's percentage of average. Let's see. JC Inflation Tracker reports cumulative extra family costs from February with the national average of 706. Percentages below show each state's extra cost. That's as a share of the. Maybe this is where he's pulling this number from. So this is as a share. The inflation tracker says percentages below show each state's extra cost as a share of the national figure. But that would still. That would still be like, that's still going to disproportionately list places with higher cost of living. That's why I think you see Hawaii, Alaska, California there, and Colorado, Utah, some of the most, Washington. These are basically the most expensive states to live in. So that's a by percentage. What about CPI changes? Because even that one is still not top 10. Like, I don't know where he's getting this number. Because even with this, you've got red state there, red state there, red state there, red state there, red. So even then, the top 10 wouldn't all be blue. So I don't know what he's citing here. Yeah, if anybody, let me look in the chat. Does anybody have an idea of where he might be citing that information? None of this is backing up what he's saying. Let's see, maybe Arthur Idala can tell us.
What I'm saying is that they are not providing. He made that claim. The Treasury. We reached out to Treasury. They didn't provide any evidence to back up even what Besant was saying.
Also, a number, when you say now, that's
What does that even
meaningless.
mean?
I mean, you have to look at a trend line. That's the only thing that actually means anything. And P.S., all the things, as I just laid out, that actually cause inflation are set to be going up in the coming year. I don't think there's any doubt.
It's concepts of siding.
We're going into a more inflationary period.
I live in South Florida.
I mean, look, this isn't unusual. It is really, really difficult to fact check this administration because I can't think, like I watched 2 hours of their circle jerk, and every single data point that any person brought up was a lie. Every single one, they used fake data, and I would find the real numbers, and the real numbers still would have told the story they wanted to tell, but they always have to inflate their data. So I'm guessing that I don't know, maybe he saw that and he just was like, they're blue states because they're all high. I have no idea. But it is, I know you're being funny there, Biraki, a little bit, but it is important to remember that this is being caused by a lot of things, but one of the things that is causing inflation is tariffs. And they lie about that too. They consistently tell us that it's not tariffs that are raising the cost of inflation. They're not doing it by themselves, but it is raising the price of goods, which increases inflation. He must be pulling data from a printed out piece of paper in Trump's lapel pocket. That dude. Who is the new fluffer? Who's the current White House fluffer? Who was the one that would carry around the printer last time? I forgot her name. All right. Then here we are again. This is on Laura Ingraham. She accidentally brought in Brian York to address kind of the same thing. Like, what's the GOP gonna do here? You're in a tough position, GOP. You guys are in your last month right now of being able to not completely own what's about to happen. The big, beautiful bill kicks in 2016 or 2026, and you're going to see massive increases in healthcare costs. We already know that. So what you're seeing right now, the trends that you're seeing right now, we already know everything is about to get more expensive. New fluffer is Santos. And then you've got midterms coming up. So you're running into the same problems that Democrats had in 2024, where they're showing like, oh, things are getting better, but the people weren't feeling it. In this case, I don't even know that you're going to have data to say that things are getting better because inflation is rising, costs are rising. The only thing that you really have right now is gas prices are lower. Yours went up 100 per month, Lisa. That's brutal.
And what's the post-Trump Republican Party going to look like? I don't know. But first of all, they're not really addressing a lot of people's concerns right now. Look at credit card balances. They've been going up and up and up. People are using credit cards for essential items. Car loan delinquencies are going up. I mean, these are real indicators that people are having trouble getting by every single day. The inflation that went up under Joe Biden is still there. So that's
it's been
something.
halved from its high.
Well,
under
the
Biden.
rate of increase.
Yeah.
But prices.
I love when they say this, but it was like, maybe, I don't know if MAGA is still here, but if we look at inflation by month and we look at this chart, is this the right one? You can see here, like inflation, she says it went down by half. It's more than half. It was at 9.1. But by the time Trump took over, which is there, we were at 3%. And we're at 3% now. They only have updated since August, but we're at 3% now. So we're at the same place. I don't know, MAGA, why you allow so many people to keep citing this 9% number like it wasn't gone by the time Trump took office. But that's how they lie to you. That's how they try and convince you that things are actually going well. They're like, well, it could have been worse. It was bad up here. It was bad up there. And if I looked at the world, everybody had this, except with the exception of like Japan. But the whole world had this same peak and valley. So coming out of this and seeing inflation start to rise now is a completely self-inflicted wound by your president. And when he says when he says that the cost is still there, when you see that inflation was at 9%, that means the cost went up 9%. In order for this price to come down, you'd have to see negative, right? You'd have to see deflation. Inflation is the rate of how much prices are going up. Right? So it's still there, and then you still have all of that price built in. This hasn't reversed and gone below this line like you see in 2008. This is when prices go, but you've got to drop below this line to lower prices. So even Trump, just think about Trump and all these people saying prices are lower, that they're bringing prices down. How? If you still have positive inflation, prices aren't coming down because this is the rate of change. So if the rate of change has been positive every month, then you have inflation every month. And I believe these numbers are annualized. They take the change and then they annualize this number. So it's not like it's going up 3% every month. This is year over year inflation. So it's like 0.6, 0.5, whatever, 0.3. But we're not seeing anything drop below this line. That's how prices would go down as a whole. So yeah, it's stabilized, Drew. That's correct. But they're saying it's not. They're saying it's like lowering prices, which it's not. So again, Drew, for you, like, I know people get mad at me when I say that you're smarter than you act sometimes, and you are, but like, you know that they're lying to you. You know that when they say shit like that they're always lying. And we can't ever have change if we don't stand up and tell our politicians not to lie to us. And if you're a person right now who hears me say that and you go, well, you didn't do it with Biden, fine, let's just pretend I didn't do that with Biden. I probably could have done it more. Are you just saying that you're just going to be pathetic because other people are? Like, you're not going to be better? Oh, I'm just going to, the bar is low and I'm going to stay down here at this low bar. I'm not going to ask my Republican leadership to tell me the truth because Democrats didn't tell the truth. Lefties are so funny. Inflation and high prices only exist during Republican administration. No, we're not even saying that. If we're looking at what they're saying, they're lying. Obviously, I just showed you the chart that inflation exists. In the United States economy, you always want inflation, the way that they've set it up. Now, you could argue that that's a bad setup. I would say that it's a pretty bad setup. But we need inflation. Our stock market wouldn't keep climbing every year if we didn't try and have between 2 and 3% inflation. You need costs to go up for this rigged economy that we have. So yeah, every president has inflation. And if you have deflation, that's generally a sign of like a recession. So nobody is saying that inflation only exists with Republicans. We're just saying that they're lying right now. And I'm curious why you guys think that when you get lied to, your knee-jerk reaction is to talk about Democrats. That's what I don't get. If you're serious about like having a better country, you don't have to agree with anybody on our side of the aisle. But how the fuck are we ever going to get the right answers if no matter what I say, you go, oh, Dem's bad, and no matter what you say, I say Repub's bad? You can say a lot of things about me, and I do, goddamn, if there's anybody I've ever despised more than Donald Trump, I don't know who the fuck it is. But if you watch this show every day, and the Republicans that do watch this show every day, you know I at least try and call balls and strikes. I give Trump credit where credit is due. Even on stuff I don't like, with the border. Like, has he shut down the border? Yeah. Do I like it? No. Did he do it? Yep. Do you like it? Yep. That's fine. Should you celebrate that if that's what you like? Yeah, you should celebrate that. I disagree with it, but at least we can like live in the same reality that Trump did what he said he was going to do. And it sucks because I try and like put this out there and say, can we just be on the same factual basis? But then as soon as we go back to anything that Trump did poorly, then suddenly it's orange man bad, Trump derangement syndrome, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and we can't talk about it. That's a pretty good point. I do think Biden was better at that. Biden talked about problems as American problems. Trump and the GOP do is blame half the country. I do think that that's mostly true. I think Biden had some slip-ups. He's, you don't get to be president without being a little bit arrogant. I don't think we've ever had a president that wasn't arrogant and who didn't slip up, but I do agree with that. $2 billion a year to keep the military at the border. Yeah, I don't know about that return on investment. That's what the argument really should be, Steve. Thanks for bringing that up. The argument really should be, did Trump close the border? Yes. Is that benefiting us? Yes or no? Republicans would probably say yes. In fact, we had this debate. I had this debate with Andrew Wilson. I had this debate partially with Rob Noor. I had this debate with other Republicans. Okay, is it benefiting us? If you say yes, tell me how it benefits. It doesn't benefit us. It doesn't benefit us financially. J.D. Vance is out there lying about the benefits from it. J.D. Vance is saying that that's going to bring down the price of housing, but it's not doing that. That's the problem. Ideology is a motherfucker. God damn, if there's anything, I figure there's one thing I hate more than Trump. Ideology. I hate ideology. I don't care. Like, I hate people who cling to theory, to ideology. I don't like that we celebrate ideologues. I hate it because it's just thought stopping. And maybe I'm jaded because I came out of a cult, and so like maybe I'm too harsh on ideology. Maybe there's something I'm missing there where like it plays a role that's beneficial You could probably sell me on it. But for me, like I think ideology is silly and it's thought stopping and it allows people to hold ideas without any real conviction. It allows people to be really, really fucking lazy and get set in their ways over. I think maybe the best example is the necessary. Is that what it's called? The necessary conversation? Is that the one with the dad? I saw one this morning. That dad. Now, the kids are liberal. Some of you won't agree with the kids because they're liberal. But that dad is the most ideologically driven person I've ever seen. He does, whether you agree with the stuff he says or not, he never can explain what the fuck he's talking about. Like here's a good example here.
He would be executed.
That's not true.
That's not true at all. He's a traitor.
Should members of military follow unlawful orders?
Yes.
That's See, that's where ideology fucks me up. And that's where I think that you MAGA people are right now. You're ideologically captured, where the law doesn't mean anything. Where we're talking about the Trump administration murdering people in boats. And you might think, I don't care how bad those people are. I don't know who they are. You also don't know who they are. But the big push by Republicans right now, I dare you to find me a Republican content creator today who isn't saying some version of, oh, the left's always defending these narco terrorists. No, that's not our argument. Our argument is you don't get to just murder people without due process. That's our take. But you can't say that, so you have to then say instead that we were on the side of narco terrorists. Why? Because you've abandoned the principles of this country, of law and order, of due process, of innocent until proven guilty. And now you're just like, yeah, if I don't like something, it's fine if we break the law.
What?
They should follow any order that the president gives.
That's
and the
correct.
government gives. That's wrong.
Even if it breaks laws?
It will endanger other people if you don't follow orders.
What if President Trump orders a squad of army guys to walk down the street killing anyone they see? They should do it?
See, but that's what I'm saying, Nathan. I agree with you. Killing people by the thousands off of fentanyl is also bad. But this doesn't fix it. Do you think that this is going to stop any of that? A year from now, if you see that the numbers aren't down, are you going to admit that all we did was murder people for nothing? Laws are important because people think differently. Because you and I are going to have different things that mean something to us, because people are ideologically driven, the only way that you can work together as a country where people think differently is if you follow the law. And the second you say, you know what, I know that's against the law, but I don't fucking care, then you've got a problem. I don't think Obama broke the law in this same way, Gizmo. I think that what Obama did was more likely was war crimes. We had a stated war. We were at war. Congress had approved war, which is required. Like if you go to war, Congress has to approve that. And so it's different rules. It's still the end. It's still the same. Like right, you're still unjustly killing people. But one of them is like the remedy for that is that you would court martial or that you would go to the world courts. We're not at war with Venezuela. We don't have a declared war. And our laws say that anybody that comes into this country that's trafficking drugs, they get due process. We don't just kill them. And these people aren't even in our country. We don't even know where those drugs were going. We have no idea, and we just killed them. And just think for a second, like I know that you believe that that's what was going on, and that's fine. You might be right. In fact, I hope that you are right. I really, really hope that like they have people on the ground there in Venezuela who know who's loading up the boats, and they're telling the U.S. military, and we have sources, and that's how the U.S. military is getting these people. I hope to God that 100% of these people were narco drug traffickers. I really, really hope they are. I don't trust our government. I never have. I don't trust the government when they tell us this shit. Like, how many more times do they have to be caught lying? How many times did the Bush administration lie? We sat there like, what about Benghazi? I know you guys were upset about Benghazi. What about the murder of Jamal Khashoggi? What about when Obama took out Gaddafi? And the original story never turns out to be true. Every administration in my lifetime has told us a story that wasn't true about what they did militarily. So it's hard for me to come up with any other explanation for why you are wholesale agreeing with this other than you like Trump. You don't want him to get in trouble. So you're just choosing to believe that this is okay. And all I'm asking for is some transparency. I would like our government to tell us how they knew that these were drug traffickers, and two, why they thought that they could issue these orders without a declaration of war. Why they think that you get just to choose like who dies. That's all we're asking for here. Don't tell me we have to be told what to think. You guys are all saying the exact same thing right now. Shut the fuck up. You're believing the government and telling us we have to be told what to think. You're just believing the government. That you get that, right? That's your whole party right now. Is just we believe the government. The government's honest. I support the government. I support Trump. You don't know. All right. Back to this. Let's pull this up. Was there any other parts? Yeah, I actually want to cover this real quick. Just a reminder, guys, today is a more boring show. And I know, like, sometimes I rant, and I know you guys like that, and it's easier to hit our gift goals when I rant. But I don't want to turn into, like, a trained monkey who just, like, does things on command and gets upset so that we hit our goals every day. If you could help us even on the boring days, that'd be greatly appreciated. And then I'll update that gift goal in a minute. But you guys, I can say it now. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, as well as Super Chats. I'll read anything that you write. And then reminder, not this Monday, but the following Monday, we have another movie night. I'll announce that sometime next week. I haven't chosen the movie yet. In fact, if you have suggestions for movie night, DM those to me either on TikTok or Discord. Actually, Discord. DM me on Discord if you have a suggestion for our next movie night. This was from today. Layoff announcements top 1.1 million this year, the most since 2020. The Challenger, who we look at for job roles, private job roles, said that the U.S. employers move further ahead of 1 million for the year in November as corporate restructuring, artificial intelligence, and tariffs have helped pair job roles. The firm said layoff plans totaled 71,321 in November, a step down from the massive cuts announced in October, but still enough to bring the 2025 total up to 1.17 million. Now, the Trump administration is every day saying that we're reshoring American jobs. And you guys generally tell me every day that we're reshoring American jobs, but we're bleeding jobs. This is the worst year since 2021. Is that what they said? Middle of the pandemic. In November, Verizon announced that it would slash more than 13,000 jobs, which helped drive the total. Tech companies driven by innovations in artificial intelligence listed 12,377 reductions, pushing the sector's 2025 total up to 17% from a year ago. So why are we investing all of this money in AI if they're just going to lay people off? What are we doing that for? Why is taxpayer money being injected into these AI companies if they're just going to lay people off? Yes, immigrants do make us money. Damn, you're dumb. All right, Gizmo. We'll do that in a second. They do. And I think it's kind of gross the way that they do it, but it is a net benefit. Megan, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Somebody said they sent a PayPal. Who was that? Christina said, Jen has mentioned that she can't really interrupt your show, but when you type in media bias tracker, the White House has put out their new propaganda machine Called it media offenders. Okay, I'll go to Jen. Will you grab that link and then I'll pull it up. Thank you, also Alyssa. Oh damn, I need to change that. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for making me aware of that. Tariffs were cited as the driver of more than 2,000 cuts in November and nearly 8,000 year to date. The most cited reason for the month was restructuring, followed by closings of market or economic conditions. Restructuring is just like a fancy way of saying we got to keep our stock price up. Layoff plans fell last month, certainly a positive sign. That said, job cuts in November have risen above 70,000 only twice since 2008, in 2022 and in 2008. Challenger also pointed out that since the financial crisis in 2008, companies have shifted away from end-year layoff announcements. It was the trend to announce layoff plans towards the end of the year to align with most companies' fiscal year ends. It became unpopular after the Great Recession, especially, and best practice directed layoff plans would occur at times other than the holidays. So, where are these new jobs? Isn't that outlook better than all the announcements in late 2024? Drew? No. Drew, how do we have layoff announcements top 1.1 million this year, the most since 2020? I'm not great at math, but 2020 was 5 years ago. 2024 would have fallen in that window. So how would layoff announcements being higher now be better than 2024? I'm not sure what you're saying there, bud. It doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, but don't worry, guys. This is the most Cuba shit I've ever seen. If you know about Cuba, one of the things that's interesting about Cuba when you go there is that and I don't know if this is still true, but this was true 5 or 6 years ago, is that the cars in Cuba are really old, and that's because like they were stuck with the cars that they had because there were so many countries that had put restrictions on Cuba. You couldn't export cars to Cuba, so you would go to Cuba and the cars were 30, 40, 50 years old. Now here's Sean Duffy saying things are going poorly. We're not selling enough cars. Now they're talking about taking smaller cars like the micro cars, and they're trying to slash regulations so that these little tiny cars can drive on freeways. The reason they can't drive on freeways now is they're not safe at the speeds that they drive on freeways. But Sean Duffy's like, fuck that. And here's what he's saying now. Bringing back the good old days. Sean Duffy wants you wearing suits on airplanes and driving in your grandparents' car.
And also, I think if you're building a car,
I got it now, John.
That Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg wanted you to build, that's different than market demand. I want the market to decide what kind of EV I should offer. What kind of vehicles do the American consumers want to buy? This rule will actually allow you to bring back the 1970s station wagon, maybe a little wood paneling on the side, Phil. We can bring back toys to consumers. So yeah, the minivan's awesome, but maybe the station wagon is cool too.
But the average price.
There's all these cars that are unsafe that we could have on the roads if we got rid of all these pesky safety rules. That's all right if a few more people die. At least we'll be able to put more cars on the road. That's pretty wild. John said my weekly tithing I would have sent more, but inflation from the last 10 minutes has been rough. Thanks for pointing out that you had said that. I'm glad. Ivory said my contribution because this day needs Riz and I can't carry it alone. And Lord knows I don't have any Riz. Thank you, Megan, as well. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to bring back 1970s station wagons and little tiny cars that people die in. I want to talk about healthcare. And I want to start with this. On October 6th, Mike Johnson, as he was getting in front of a microphone every day, bitching about the shutdown and blaming Democrats, he kept promising the American people that Democrats don't care about healthcare, and all we have to do is open up the government and we'll fix your healthcare.
So they created a red herring. A red herring is a distraction. They decided that they would pick a fight on healthcare. Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about healthcare. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix healthcare. This is not talking points for us.
Okay, guys, these are not talking points. They're working around the fucking clock. And this was October 6th. So you can imagine working 24/7 around the clock. It's December, 4th? So the plan they have now must be unbelievable. That many hours. That's crazy, right?
Done it. A big part of the one big beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, was to fix health care.
By cutting health care from poor people and giving that money to rich people in form of a tax break is what he's saying there.
Care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was. We have members working on that. So they created...
All right. So they got members working on it 24/7. That was October 6th. Great. October 9th, then you'll remember Mike Johnson went on C-SPAN. He spoke to everybody's favorite liberal sex symbol, Good Trouble, and he had this conversation with a caller from Texas, again, about healthcare, just 3 days later.
And I also want to know, what is y'all's plan to fix the Obamacare?
Great questions. There's a lot of improvements that are needed. Obamacare did not do what was promised. Everybody can acknowledge that. As I mentioned, premiums are up 60% since it became law in 2010. And you have less access to care, and in some...
Which was a slower rate of gain than previous to Obamacare, but we won't talk about that.
It's the country, lower quality of care. So we got to fix that. Republicans are the party that have the ideas to do that. We have a doctors caucus inside.
Fuck yeah, dude. They got a whole caucus of doctors. This is just 3 days later. So they've been working at this point for 72 straight hours around the clock. So we don't have it yet, but it's on its way.
The Republican conference that works around the clock, putting together these ideas, talking to stakeholders and other providers around the country. We have a lot of ideas to fix it. Some people say, why can't you just rip Obamacare out at the roots and start over? It's very, very complicated. It affects about 18% of the U.S. economy, healthcare, but there's lots of areas of improvement. We have not, this is not a talking point for us. We've demonstrated it in the one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cuts. We added lots of provisions, for example, to reform Medicaid. It was being drained. The resources there are intended for U.S. citizens that are in a small number of categories, the disabled, the elderly, young pregnant women in difficult situations, et cetera. But what was happening is you had illegal aliens draining the resources who are not allowed to do it under law, and you had young...
Which, of course, was a lie, right? That was a thing that wasn't happening. You can't. He just admitted, like, of course they're draining the resources, which they're not allowed to do under the law. Well, how did they do it? And how did they do all that? Why aren't they in jail? Why is nobody in jail for that? You guys aren't going to prosecute for that? Where's all these people that were unlawfully getting health care? You guys aren't going to do anything about that? You just told us it was happening and then you let it go?
Able-bodied men, for example, without dependents who were riding the wagon. We reformed that in our bill. We reduced the cost, and the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, just analyzed in late August, August 25th, in the report. They said it's going to have the desired effect. They project that we're going to save $185 billion in waste and abuse in Medicaid, which will make it work better for the people that it's desired and intended to help. We've got many ideas like that, and many more to come. We got 2.3 million ineligible recipients off of Medicaid. Republicans are the party that are going to fix it for you, and we have to keep control of Congress to do that.
And is there a Republican plan to fix Obamacare? You said it's been law for 15 years. Is there a plan that we can read and find out more about?
Yeah, we've been producing plans over the last few years when I was the chair of the Republican Study Committee.
Yeah, but the plan keeps just being like, end Obamacare. That's not a plan. That's just ending something. And by the way, ending Obamacare would not fix any of this. This is where the Republicans are fucked right now, and we're going to prove it. But this is why you guys are fucked, and this is why Republicans, Mike Johnson's not really talking about healthcare anymore. Because ending Obamacare just makes healthcare unattainable for some people. If the plan of ending Obamacare, like if this plays out in the way that they're saying, and they don't explain this to any of you because it's heartless. But what they're saying is that if they get rid of Obamacare subsidies, the ACA subsidies that were extended during COVID, even if that means less people buy health insurance, then that they think that the price then will go down. They think that less people will have health insurance, less people will use health insurance, especially people who are sick, who can't work full time, who are impoverished, people that may rely on those subsidies to get their health care. Those expensive people, they'll fall off because they can't afford it anymore. So they just won't have health care. They'll die, but the health care costs will come down. That's legitimately their plan, is let a bunch of people die, and then that might bring down the cost. But even then, that's not guaranteed, because then you have to rely on the health insurance companies looking at their balance sheet and going, oh, we paid out less claims this year. Let's lower the prices, which they certainly won't fucking do. If they pay out less claims, they're going to pay themselves massive bonuses. And they might stabilize prices, but as soon as they have another bad year again, they're going to raise prices. They will never bring down prices. There is no reason for them to bring down prices. This is a wish. It is a hope. And you better be able to do fucking magic. You better be able to convince all these healthcare CEOs to stop caring about profit. But that's their plan. Let some people die. Get some sick people off of healthcare. Maybe some charitable institutions will take up the cause. Maybe these other organizations can step in and save their lives. But if they don't, fuck it. Healthcare is not a right anyways. That's why we won't make it a right. Then we don't have to take the blame for them dying. What is the actual problem then? Tell me the actual problem, DCI. I'll debate you guys from the chat for a second. What is the problem? Let's take the claims that you guys have made so far. Let's take, can illegal immigrants obtain Medicaid or Medicare from the federal government? Because we're talking about federal government here, right? And I make that caveat because states are allowed to give health care to people that are undocumented. They're allowed to do that. But that's their money. It's not federal money. So states have the autonomy to do that if they want to. Legal immigrants are generally not eligible to receive Medicare or full Medicaid benefits from the federal government. Federal law restricts Medicaid and Medicare eligibility to U.S. citizens and certain lawfully present immigrants in qualified immigration status. Undocumented immigrants may only access emergency Medicaid for urgent medical care, but are not eligible for regular or full Medicaid or Medicare coverage. Some states provide limited state-funded assistance for emergency or specific health services. So when you point at California, when you point at Illinois, those are state funded. They're allowed to do that. That's not your money unless you're a taxpayer there. And if you're a taxpayer there, then get mad at them, but don't get mad at the federal government. Let's see. For emergency or specific health services, but this is not federally funded. Recent laws and oversight efforts continue to enforce those restrictions and prevent the use of federal Medicaid funds for illegal immigrants except in emergencies. So explain to me how we're spending money on them. Don't just keep saying illegal immigrants cost billions. Don't just keep saying it. I just showed you that that's not true. Don't just keep saying that. Do you see how easy it is? All they have to do is say illegal immigrant, and you're like, fuck them. Fuck them. Cut it from poor people. Who was being cut? Let's look at who was most affected by one big, beautiful bill, Medicaid cuts. Or Medicare cuts. I think they cut Medicaid. I always mix those two up. The populations most affected by the One Big Beautiful Bill are low-income adults, especially those in expansion states, people with disabilities, lawfully present immigrants, and residents in rural areas. So they told you it was about people who are here illegally, which was a lie, so that they could steal health care from poor people and give tax breaks to rich people. And the only reason you guys don't want to engage in this is because then you have to admit that these heartless fucks stole from poor people to give to the rich.
The largest caucus of conservatives in Congress, we actually published.
Bro, so you want open borders? What? Bro, what? No, I want the government to pay for poor people, for disabled people, for rural areas. I want people all over this country to have health care. I'm not advocating that people who are here that are undocumented get health care. This has nothing to do with the border. I just told you who lost their coverage, and you're like, so what you're saying is open the borders? I bet you probably want the Taliban too.
A document about that thick with ideas to do it. We're setting up the conditions right now to do that. The president and I have talked about this as recently as yesterday. He wants to fix the healthcare system, and we have a lot of ideas to do that. But it's a complicated, complex thing. You got to, as you said, Bill.
It's not complicated really at all. They keep saying it's complicated, and the reason that they keep saying that it's complicated is because they don't have a solution. Everything they talk about relies on private healthcare insurance doing what they think is the right thing. They don't have to operate under like market principles. The reason they tell you every time that it's complicated is simply that, is they have no control over that. All their ideas still rely on a bunch of rich people saying, yeah, we'll take less money.
Consensus among so many members to get this done, and we have a lot of work to do, but we're excited to get about that work because the American people deserve it.
Thank you. YT is stupid and stuff said, hey, dude, sent you a tweet with great article proving your point about global inflation. I looked for it. Did you tag me? Did you DM it to me? If you want to DM it again, I'm looking in my requests. I don't see anything. There's a lot of tags, so I don't see that. But DM it to me again, and I'll look for it. It's not coming up. I am FRCD said all Republicans do is lie. That's not true. Sometimes they sleep. Sometimes they do that. It is crazy to watch this administration, how everything they say is a lie. So that's October 9th. So we started October 6th when Mike Johnson said we have a plan. October 9th, he said we got a binder that's this thick. So let's move forward. Now we're to October 24th. So we're 18 days of working 24/7 around the clock. They already have the binder that's this thick. What do they have on April 24th, according to Mark Alford? Republican Mark Alford.
Open the government. Let us get back to work.
House Speaker Mike Johnson told our Caitlin Collins a few nights ago that Republicans have proposals to address the health care subsidies and that they could have them ready, quote, immediately. I mean, look, over 400,000 people in Missouri are enrolled in the marketplace. Have you seen those proposals that Speaker Johnson is talking about? What are they then? And enlighten me.
All right, what's in these? All right, you've seen them? Great. Whew, thank God. It's October 26th. Finally, you guys have a plan. You've seen it. Could you tell us about that plan, sir?
No, I have not. I would like to. I'm coming back up to D.C. on Tuesday.
Wait, what?
Enlighten me. Those proposals that Speaker Johnson is talking about?
Have I seen those proposals? Yes, I've seen them.
What are they then? And enlighten me.
No, I have not. I would like
Never mind. I haven't seen them. Never mind. You wanted details? Never mind.
I'm coming back up to D.C. on Tuesday to meet with my staff there and check in on them. We have been doing tremendous work in our district, covering all 24 counties. I will tell you this, Omar.
Yep.
I don't think the Democrats are serious about this. They are using this as...
I can't tell you what the plan is. No fucking clue. But the Democrats are very not serious about this. They're very, very much not serious.
Leverage. They want the pain. They want these statements to come out from the insurance companies come November 1st.
We've heard from Democrats who see these
and John
stakes
Thune,
for health
the
care.
Senate Majority Leader, actually proposed to get this on the House, on the Senate floor for debate and a vote. He promised that to them, and they said no to that.
And
open the government.
Drew, good question. You said you said something about what happens to the people employed by the insurance companies. They probably, a lot of them will take government jobs. The CEOs will be out of a job. The executives will be out of jobs. The sales reps will be out of jobs. But those that work in the critical infrastructure of healthcare, of health insurance, those people can work for the government or they can work somewhere else. But yes, like doing universal health care, Medicare for all, Bernie Sanders way, you will lose a lot of jobs. However, the way that he rolls it out, it's structured. So like the first 5 years, you take everybody that's 55 and up, and they're all on universal health care, which immediately alleviates a lot of stress on people who are retiring. They don't have to worry about it. So immediately those people are taken care of. And then it's like every 5 years you add, you take 10 years. So then 5 years later, it's 45 and up. Then it's 35 and up. So yes, people in the health insurance industry would lose their jobs. Certainly they would lose their jobs. People in the healthcare industry, doctors, hospitals, they wouldn't lose their job because they're just getting they're getting a check right now from the healthcare companies. It would come from the federal government instead. So you are correct that people in the health insurance industry would, some of them would lose their jobs. It would open up a ton of government jobs, though, which are going to have better benefits, far more stability, and far less fraud, which is cool. So you are right about that. All right. So that's October 26th, or 24th, excuse me. Then on November 4th, Marjorie Taylor Greene had enough. And Marjorie Taylor Greene went on The View, and she said this. So now we're 30 days later of working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Good Lord. How many hours is that? If we go, it's 30 times 24. 600 and whatever, 30, or maybe is it get 700? What's going on with my calculator? Somehow my 720. All right, so we've worked a lot of hours at this point for a plan. Marjorie Taylor Greene on the 4th.
Johnson last week on our GOP conference call. By the way, I'm missing the call today. It's going on right now. And I hope that Mike Johnson is finally giving a single health care policy because the country deserves it, and it shouldn't be a secret. And I shouldn't have to go into a skiff to go find our Republican.
I am from the government. I'm here to help. Yeah, DeGriz, you know who said that? Ronald Reagan. You know who was wrong about that? Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan said that little cute catchphrase to convince a bunch of people in America that the government can't do anything functionally. And then he introduced trickle-down economics, and then we've been robbed blind by corporations. And there's some people 50 years later faced with the data that trickle-down economics was a catastrophic failure, and that the government would have handled a lot of these industries much better, and government intervention would have made it so that we had far less wealth inequality, and we could have things like universal health care and cheap college. And you're still out here 50 years later with every piece of data against you, hanging on to a catchphrase. And this is why I said earlier, I fucking hate ideology, because you only think that because you're a Republican, and Ronald Reagan said a thing that was cute, but it was fucking stupid. Because I know that when your house catches on fire, you're not calling Domino's. I know when somebody breaks into your house, you don't call you're not calling Fry's Electronics. You're calling the fucking government. I know when you're worried about shutting down the border, you didn't call UPS, you called the government. You guys depend on the government all the time. In fact, right now, you guys, the Republican Party depends entirely on the government for every single thought that happens inside of their head. They don't even have their own thoughts. They just baby bird and wait for daddy government to give them the thoughts. It's a silly thing that you just said there. It was silly that Ronald Reagan said that. It was cute at the time. We have 50 years of data that said that was really fucking stupid, though.
Our Republican health insurance plan.
Maybe there is no plan.
You know what? You want to know something? That, I believe, is the truth. There's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of bills, but there's no consensus. Yeah. And I think that's a failure. I do.
Right. So Marjorie Taylor Greene saying there's no plan. It's November 4th. I could be there today. I'm here at The View, so maybe they'll have a plan. I hope there's a plan. And the last instance I can find of Mike Johnson talking about healthcare was on November 10th. And here he is on Fox News with his finally unveiled plan on November 10th. Because obviously, he'd still be talking about it if he had unveiled his plan.
Subsidizing the insurance companies is not the answer because it just drives the cost up even further. So we need to look at the root causes. The Republican Party is the party that is working on that, has been working on it, and has more ideas going forward. We've got to bring down the costs. And you can do that in a responsible way that also increases access and quality of care. And we got notebooks full of ideas on how to do that.
Oh, no, they still just have the notebooks. Fuck. God damn it, no plan?
No consensus around it.
Oh, no consensus. And then we're just not talking about it anymore. So let's see what Republicans are saying. This is the part that a Republican earlier told me I wasn't going to say. Natalie says, went by a Tesla dealership in Bend, Oregon. Hundreds of cars available. Oh, you hate to see it. Lindsay said, go on vacay in the Griswold family truckster. If there was like a newer station wagon with wood paneling, I'd probably buy it. I don't have any riz. I'm not cool at all. I might as well just embrace it. I'm honestly, I think my next car is going to either be a minivan or a Prius, and I don't need a minivan. And there's other options, but I think I just need to embrace not being cool. So I think that's where we're gonna go. I don't know what's I don't know. I don't know what's less cool than those. Actually, the new Prius kind of does look cooler. Here's Chip Roy. Chip Roy's got healthcare settled. He's got it all figured out. He went on Fox News to tell us about his plan. Not the GOP's plan, by the way, because they still don't have one.
Trump in his first term did, short-term limited duration plans and creating options for American families. Now Congress needs to step up and help the president. We need to give freedom options for the average hardworking American family so you can afford a catastrophic plan, go get, health sharing, be able to have something that you can be able to go to the doctor of your choice rather than enriching insurance companies, which is what Democrats want to do. We need to follow the president and back him up, and so we can root out the kind of fraud that you're talking about here, Maria.
All of those things already exist. Everything he says here, it already exists.
Plans and creating options for American families.
Okay, what options?
Now Congress needs to step up and help the president. We need to give freedom options for the average hardworking American family so you can afford a catastrophic plan.
Those are available and they're far cheaper than regular health insurance plans.
Go get, health sharing.
That exists. Christian healthcare ministries. There's all sorts of plans there's all sorts of programs like that already.
Be able to have something that you can be able to go to the doctor of your choice rather than enriching insurance companies, which is what Democrats want to do.
So their plan is just to let the subsidies expire and do nothing. That's their plan. That's what he just said. All of those things exist. They're just like, meh. We don't really have a plan. But Josh Hawley has a real cool plan. Pull that up here. Big new ideas coming out of Josh Hawley.
As I've said for months now, listen, I'm open to proposals. I'm open to any proposal that will keep the costs down, but we've got to take action. Doing nothing is not a solution. But I have another suggestion to make. And it's a bill that a proposal I'd like to introduce. I am introducing today.
I promise you guys aren't ready for how stupid this is. I promise. If anybody needs to put on a helmet or get around something soft, I promise at the end of this, you're going to want to bang your head against the hardest material near you. I promise you're not ready for how dumb this is and how dumb they think we are.
In addition to taking action on subsidies, why shouldn't we make healthcare tax-free in this country? Why shouldn't we just exempt all health care from taxes? We did no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime earlier this year. How about no taxes on health care? If you pay premiums, you ought to be able to deduct that from your taxes.
So why don't we pay for everybody's health care? Why don't we just pay for everybody's health care, but we'll still give the money to the private health insurance companies? The last guy just said we got to stop giving money to the health insurance companies. Josh Hawley says, let's give all the money. He just advocated universal health care, but we keep the private insurance companies. That's what he just said. Except for maybe we'll give a carve out so rich people don't get this. Why would you give a carve out so rich people don't get it? Well, because we're going to need that taxpayer money. Oh, you don't say. Did he listen to the rest of this?
If you have out-of-pocket medical expenses, you ought to be able to deduct every dollar off of your taxes. You want to lower the cost of health care immediately? Do that. No taxes.
That would, hold on. They're claiming that government paying for healthcare, subsidizing healthcare, is raising the cost of healthcare. If the government subsidizes the healthcare, the prices go up because they know that they're going to get that money back. They know that that money's coming from the government. So how about this? What if the government subsidizes the healthcare?
On healthcare for any American. And you set an upper limit so you don't have rich people gaming the system. I get it. That's
yeah, rich people are going to have to pay taxes on still, though. They're not going to get this break. So we're going to tax the rich to pay for health care, and we're going to do it by paying for the most expensive health care in the fucking world. We're not going to collectively bargain. We're not going to get rid of the profit motive. We're still going to pay for those commercials. We're still going to pay for the sales reps. We're still going to do all this shit. What if our solution is we'll just pay for it? I told you you were going to slam your head against something hard. Obama destroyed healthcare in America by design. So let's do the Obamacare. This is Obamacare, you dumb motherfuckers. Only worse, because these are partial subsidies that you're getting in Obamacare. He's saying they're going to subsidize the whole fucking thing. This is, I don't like socialism. This is universal health care, government-funded, for-profit, universal motherfucking health care. Their plan is either one, Chip Roy saying, well, maybe you could try alternatives that already exist. That should do it. And then Josh Hawley saying, if the government subsidizes health care, costs go up. So we are going to subsidize health care and cost will go down. Oh, okay. This fucking party, every one of you goddamn morons, wake the fuck up. They are advocating for the worst possible solution. If AOC said this, you would all call her a commie and demand that she be deported for having the audacity to suggest that the American taxpayer pay for health insurance. But when Josh Hawley does it, that's freedom, baby. It's capitalism, baby. There was a guy in here earlier that was like, you coward, you won't show Josh Hawley. I don't think you wanted me to call Josh Hawley. And thank you, Kevin, for bringing that up. I'm not gay. I just fuck your dad every other weekend when I don't have my daughter. And I got to be honest, he's a lousy lay, but he pays well. Josh Hawley, the commie, up here saying, maybe the solution is just that the government pays for healthcare, which I agree. Government pay for healthcare. But I would expand and I would say, how could the government pay for the healthcare in a more cost-effective way? I've got an idea. Get rid of private healthcare industry because we don't need to pay all of their bonuses. We don't need to pay all their commissions. We don't need to pay for their buildings, for their private jets, for their commercials, for their trips. Why don't we do exactly what Josh Hawley is suggesting, but we don't pay healthcare executives, which would seem like Josh Hawley would be a fan of because let me find this video. I should have added this earlier. Josh Hawley, healthcare executive or health insurance executive. He has a problem with those people. Let's go here.
There has been a 2,109% increase in the cost of health in the United States, healthcare spending. 2,109% increase. Today, Americans spend more on healthcare than on groceries or housing. I mean, this is extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Groceries or housing. 41% of adults in the United States have debt from medical expenses. And I noticed a recent Gallup report found that 31 million Americans borrowed money last year to pay for health care. 31 million Americans. I want to just add to some of the testimony that's been offered.
Rochelle, the government doesn't pay, dummy. Taxpayers do. I got a phrase for you. That a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The government is us. We pay them, and then they pay them. That's how government-funded healthcare would work. Of course, it's paid for by taxes. You dummy. And you just want me to be wrong so bad so that you can ignore the fact that your commie brethren over here is advocating for the same shit we've been asking for, except for in the worst possible way.
Here today by reading you something from a constituent of my state. This is a mother in my state of Missouri. She wrote to me recently and said the health insurance coverage for myself and my two daughters.
That's a good point, Rochelle. You're not smart if the only people you surround yourself with is people who agree with you. That just makes you a coward. That's why I let dipshits like you come in here every day and comment. That's why you guys are welcome here. That's why I mostly talk to you guys. You'll notice that I'm mostly not talking to the people who agree with me. I'm mostly talking to you. How many more times do you want to look dumb?
Are showing to be $1,500 a month, enough to actually make a mortgage payment. I'm a small business owner and wondering how I'm going to be able to afford this. She goes on to say in that same letter, I thought about just getting insurance for my daughters, but I also remembered the time where I couldn't afford insurance one year, and the doctor and hospital bills were twice as much for cash payers because they...
Thanks, Alfredo said, I'm from the private sector. I'm here to rip you off. Thank you.
Bill you the maximum amount possible. I mean, I think we should just be honest about what we're facing here. This is a crisis. This is a crisis. And I realize that in Washington, it's treated sometimes as a numbers game. It's treated as a white paper to be discussed. But for people at home, they cannot afford to go and see a doctor. I'm the father of 3 small children. I can't imagine what it would be like to say, you know, I can't afford it. I can't take my kid to the hospital. I mean, you know, we're fairly frequent visitors to the hospital in my family. I've got 2 boys. We're there a fair amount for their very...
That's not fair. He said, I wish he'd quit reminding people that he's from Missouri. It makes people think the entire state is filled with dipshits. Listen, if you're going to be from the show me state, he's going to show you that he's a dipshit. All right, you got to change the slogan, I guess.
Various injuries, and thinking about parents in my state or anywhere else saying, you know what, I think my kid's got a broken bone, but I can't go to the hospital. I can't afford it. I can't go to the doctor. I can't afford it. And millions of Americans are saying that. On the subsidies, on the premium tax subsidies, let's just be honest. If we don't do something on this issue, if Congress does not take action on this issue in the next few weeks, this will be a crisis for 24 million Americans and counting. In my state...
Yeah, I did pay it, Patrick. That's why I want to abolish private health care, Patrick. That's a good point. The cash payers often pay less. That's why I don't want private health insurance. I don't like that at all.
Premiums are already going up by between 24 and 50%, depending on the healthcare plan, depending on the region of the state.
Okay.
I mean, so we are looking at...
So once again, Comrade Hawley is saying maybe we should just have the government fund health insurance.
Fine. But let's think about working people in this country who cannot afford health care. What if we said to them today, we're not going to tax your health care costs?
What if we just didn't charge them for healthcare? What if we, instead of like, by the way, so if it's refundable, let's say that you're one of those people that doesn't wind up paying taxes at the end of the year because you're in a tax break. I mean, it's something, I don't know if it still holds, but Romney got in trouble for saying like 47% of Americans, when they file their taxes, they don't wind up paying income taxes. So then you would get a check from the government. We went through all this shit. Years of you guys telling us that the government can't pay for health insurance, to now openly advocating that the government should pay for health insurance. But because we're such cucks to capitalism, we've got to do it in the most expensive way. This is like, you could not have chosen a worse way to try and do universal health care, but I applaud at least Josh Hawley for making that leap. And recognizing that, sorry, people can't afford health care and the government's going to have to pay for it. No, it is. No. Not being taxed on something and refunding aren't the same things. But what he says 2 different things there. And I want to make sure that we catch that. He says that they won't pay taxes. I can go back to that clip. He says that it will be refunded to them, that you can write off all of those taxes, which would mean,
said for months now,
as a tax write-off, that you are entitled to that money. So you would get refunded.
As I've said for months now, listen, I'm open to proposals. I'm open to any proposal that will keep the costs down, but we've got to take action. Doing nothing is not a solution. But I have another suggestion to make, and it's a proposal I'd like to introduce. I am introducing today. In addition to taking action on subsidies, why shouldn't we make healthcare tax-free in this country? Why shouldn't we just exempt all healthcare from taxes?
So it sounds like he's saying, like, you're not going to pay like sales tax or a healthcare tax. That's what it sounds like. But then he explains.
No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime earlier this year. How about no taxes on healthcare? If you pay premiums, you ought to be able to deduct that from your taxes.
So premiums, completely deductible.
If you have out-of-pocket medical expenses, you ought to be able to deduct every dollar off of your taxes.
So all your premiums, All your copays, everything out of pocket. So I see what you're saying. I get that. But he's not saying repeal like a tax on health insurance, like make it so that there's no taxes. He's saying you get to write this off. Yeah, but if you deduct it from your taxes, and if you've overpaid in your taxes and you have this deduction, you can get a refund. This happens all the time. I don't know what you're saying. That's why people get refunds from the government. Because they pay their taxes, and then with write-offs and deductions and tax credits, you can get a refund. That's how you get a refund from the federal government after taxes. But Drew, it's not better than giving into the insurance companies because they're paying the insurance companies still. They're still giving the money to the insurance companies. Aren't write-offs just a percentage of what was paid? Look, write-offs can be a lot of things, but he is saying you can write off every dollar of your premium and out-of-pocket expenses. But let's just say that you weren't getting a check back. Let's just say that it balanced out, right? Let's just say that I owed the government $15,000, but I had $15,000 worth of health insurance and out-of-pocket expenses. So I would deduct that. And suddenly that $15,000 I was about to write the check to the government for is $0 because it gets wiped out by the $15,000 I spent on health insurance. With universal health care, you pay $0 for the diabetes medicine. Potentially. You could have deductibles. You could have copays. But Bernie Sanders, Medicare for All, you don't. What do you mean no? Wasn't me? Like, what do you mean no? It's true. If he's saying you can write off every dollar, am I crazy here? If he says you can write off every dollar, and he compared it to no tax on tips. So what was no tax on tips? They were saying that you take a deduction of up to, what was it, $12,500. So you had $12,500 that you could write off against what you owe. That's what he's comparing it to here. He's not saying a certain percentage. I don't know why it feels like we're adding stuff that he's not saying. I'm taking the words he's saying. I understand that there are write-offs that it's a percentage, right? For things like what's it called? Why is that? When something loses value, why am I forgetting that word? What's the word? Depreciation. Well, it wasn't me, but wait. He is saying it's dollar for dollar. I understand what you're saying. You're reducing your taxable total. He's saying dollar for dollar in the same way. So if you had a tax liability of $15,000 and you paid $15,000 in premiums and out of pocket, and he's saying it's dollar for dollar, you would not pay the $15,000. No, because you don't pay taxes on something you buy. You're talking about, I think this is the disconnect. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what he's saying. You're talking about income, right? So if you make $80,000 and you have a write-off, that it would say that instead of making $80,000, you made $65,000. I don't think that's what he's saying here. Now we're on the same page. I think that's what you're saying. Is that right? Wasn't me? That it's moving down your taxable income, which changes your tax bracket and the amount that you're paying. I don't think that's what he's saying here. Because that wouldn't really that wouldn't make things more affordable. I don't know. I don't think that's what he's saying, but maybe he is. I guess we could ask him. Okay. Maybe I misunderstood. I'm in the minority here, so I'm probably wrong. Appreciate it. Thanks for the pushback. I'm going to go to Rand Paul now. Did we cover all that? I did get to deduct what I spent on new windows. I didn't get money I spent on. Let me just hear it one more time. I was thinking this was more like like similar to
the call
like when I got solar. Like I got like an actual check for that. Let's hear it one more time.
Down, but we've got to take action. Doing nothing is not a solution. But I have another suggestion to make, and it's a bill that a proposal I'd like to introduce. I am introducing today. In addition to taking action on subsidies, why shouldn't we make healthcare tax-free in this country? Why shouldn't we just exempt all healthcare from taxes? We did no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime earlier this year. How about no taxes on healthcare? If you pay premiums, you ought to be.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Because that's not a tax credit for the no tax on overtime, right? You might be right. I thought the no tax on overtime was a credit. All right. Yeah, you're right. It's a deduction. No, you're right. I thought that was a tax credit. Thank you. Wasn't me. Appreciate you very much. See, guys, and you call this an echo chamber. I just got absolutely destroyed by my own audience. That makes this worse, though. That actually means it's going to do less for the people. It means it just might bring your income bracket down. What if you're already in like the lowest bracket? That's not great. I guess you could then what? You could qualify for more subsidies. Terrific. Thanks, wasn't me. Appreciate you. Thanks for sticking through that. Let's go to Rand Paul. Now here's Rand Paul's idea.
The Senate is barreling toward failure on health care is a headline that came out this week. You've got a plan to combine two different bills, Health Savings Account for All and the Health Marketplace for All Act. You say it takes on insurance companies as the president has called for. Everybody's trying to figure out how we're going to replace Obamacare. We've complained about it forever. Tell us your plan.
So we shouldn't take the Obamacare subsidies and just give them to people to put in their health savings accounts. That's just a continuation of Obamacare Light. Won't bring prices down at all. In fact, healthcare premiums will continue to go through the roof. My plan legalizes the ability for an individual to go on Amazon or Costco or Sam's Club.
Is Costco offering, do I not know about this? Is Costco offering insurance now? Why are all Republicans talking about Costco and Sam's Club? Do they have health insurance? Or are they just trying to like get them to do it? Costco offers health insurance, but not directly as a single plan for members. Instead, it provides access to health insurance options through the. Okay, so it's just a marketplace. How's that different than the ACA? It says that there's a Costco health insurance marketplace for Costco members where individuals and small businesses can compare and apply for different plans. But aren't Republicans boycotting Costco right now? Aren't you guys out on Costco? So it's just another marketplace.
And use them as a purchasing agent for their insurance. Be like joining a collective or a co-op.
Listen and find out, Dumbo. Well, he didn't explain it. I already watched this video. I knew he didn't explain what Costco was doing. So that's why we research things while we're going, bud.
For an individual to go on Amazon or Costco or Sam's Club and use them as a purchasing agent for their insurance. Be like joining a collective or a co-op where they come together and they use the size and leverage to negotiate lower prices.
That's what the ACA marketplace does. He's just saying, instead of going through the ACA marketplace, go through Costco, and Costco's probably going to have a lot of the same insurers. That it's still going to private health insurance. What's the difference here? We shouldn't just we shouldn't give it to them and put it in the marketplace. We need Costco to make some money.
Costco's got like 44 million members. What if you joined them and one person at Costco negotiated with United Healthcare or with Blue Cross? I think they would be able to negotiate rates down. So my plan would negotiate rates down.
You know what else would help collectively bargain to negotiate rates down? If we were all on the same healthcare plan. What if we all just got together and we were all on the same insurance plan? Certainly, if 10 million people on a plan would drive the cost down, then 340 million people would drive the cost down. The lengths these folks will go to just not do universal health care. It's crazy.
I would also let everybody have an HSA. Currently, only about 10% of people have an HSA. I had 3 kids go through braces, orthodontics. They're incredibly expensive, but it was a lot better for me than people who don't have an HSA. I've always had an HSA, so I was able to fund 3 kids' braces through that. Every American should have that privilege that I was able to have, and we shouldn't limit HSAs. Everybody should get one. You should be allowed to have a gym membership. You should allow to be buy vitamins, do things for your health. There's a lot.
Isn't that going to be more expensive? Like, should we all get a Costco membership and switch? I still don't think it's going to drive. I don't trust private health insurers to bring the cost down. I don't care how many they get. They're going to keep raising the price. Tanya said, if we can afford to send billions to Israel, we can afford healthcare for everyone in the U.S. Don't we pay for their healthcare? Hey, Howdy said, so not just the most expensive way, also the most complicated way. Take note, says, why aren't Democrats heading this off with a public opinion or M for A proposal? Why can't they see this is where this is going? 2 words, Chuck Schumer. 2 more words, Hakeem Jeffries. Some more words we could add in there, owned by the health insurance companies. Corruption is another word. Our leadership sucks. Impotence, incompetence, I don't know. All of those things. Dragon Wizard said, stupid and so hard they accidentally socialismed.
A lot of things you should be able to do with your HSA. So I would expand HSAs and let you buy your insurance through a cooperative like Amazon or Costco.
Yeah, that fixes nothing. If you have a good HSA, which is just putting money, it's a health savings account if you don't know. And I think the way that works is, don't they take some of your premium and they put it in an account, and then you can access that account to pay for certain things? So it's just like a portion of what you're paying. Those kind, like, how does that fix it? There's no way they don't factor in that money that they're moving to an HSA. So that's going to, like, if you expand that, that's going to drive up premiums. And then going to a marketplace, we already have marketplaces. Costco already has a marketplace. Sounds like Sam's Club has a marketplace. Sounds like Amazon either does or is going to have a marketplace. And those aren't any different than the ACA. So I don't know. These aren't real plans.
And that's great ideas. It's in 10 seconds. Are you confident that the GOP is going to be able to come up with a better plan than Obamacare was? Because that's a big vulnerability politically.
Well, I've been communicating with President Trump over this, and he just recently put something out on social media indicating that he may well be receptive to my association health plan. So we're going to try to work with the president and see if we can get this done.
Okay. Senator Rand Paul, good conversation. Thank you, sir.
I don't understand. Is it not legal? Like, he says to legalize association health plans that allow individuals to buy collectively health insurance. If Costco's already doing that, it's legal, right? What am I missing here? What is he trying to legalize here? If that already exists, is he saying that you can, like, bring a group to Costco? Like, if you and a group of people... Why is it a text? I don't know. Maybe he won't answer his calls. You lose your money if you don't use your health savings account every year? I've never had a health savings account. I don't know. I can't figure out for the life of me what they're talking about here. Probably private companies to do it. Or just like allow more people to create marketplaces. Is that what he's saying? Costco's doing it for employees, not just members.
So an HSA is money that comes out of your paycheck, that comes out pre-tax, and it goes into a special account that you can use for healthcare expenses. So like, say you have to go to the dentist and that crown you have to get, you can ask for reimbursement from your HSA to get that money back. So.
Okay. So what's the FSA? What's the difference between an HSA and an FSA? That's the.
I think they're slightly worded. There's a couple of different rules.
Does that one come from employers? The FSA.
It's flexible spending account. Sometimes I think some of those can be used for like childcare expenses. So like if you have daycare costs. So it's money that comes out pre-taxed that can be used for different things.
Okay.
But yeah, it does get lost at the end of the year.
All right. Well, for the life of me, I still can't figure out what his plan is here. I wish they would explain how this is going to lower costs. FSA lose every year, HSA keeps. We got a lot of differing opinions on HSAs. I don't know much about HSAs. All right, so there's the 3 plans that you have. One of them is just have the government keep subsidizing it, but in the form of a tax deduction, not a credit. Thank you, chat, on that one. And then we have FSAs and alternative markets. And then the other one is do like Christian healthcare ministries. That's their plan. Things that already exist is all of their plans. That's their that's their binders full of shit. All right, this. Let me read some comments here. Take note, says Republicans are talking about actual reform while Schumer is still reacting to subsidies. Dems have no ambition. They're getting outflanked. I don't know if that's reform. But they're definitely, Democrats are definitely doing nothing. I mean, there's, in all fairness, there's nothing Democrats can do. It's not like they're going to pass a bill. I don't want to see them. I guess what they could do is try and use any leverage they have now to try and extend the ACA subsidies. I guess that's it. But yeah, Schumer's been outflanked for years. It's what he does. Schumer just works for his corporate donors. He doesn't work for Democrats. He doesn't work for any of us. He just does what his corporate overlords tell him to do. So I think that's probably fair. God, that guy's got to go. He sucks so bad. That's what's interesting about like people not liking AOC. Even on our side of the aisle, like whatever you think about AOC, even if you think she's obnoxious, you know that she would fight. She wouldn't go in and just like lay down in front of Trump and get steamrolled. She'd fight. At least we know that, like, and we know who she's going to fight for. She's not fighting for corporate interest. I think that's a lot of reasons why Democrats really struggle is there's probably some internalized some misogyny and a lot of people that don't want to admit that they're afraid of what they think is socialism. Dems are over. Okay. They've won Democrats have won 100% of contested elections since 2024, but they're over. They just keep winning. And then, but it's over. And even in the ones that like aren't supposed to be close, they're much closer. The one in Tennessee, Trump won by like 26 points or something. Republicans are underperforming everywhere. It's just that you guys don't know that because your entire ideology is Donald Trump. So the fact that Trump won is all that matters to you, and you'll just keep riding that. And that's fine. But your people aren't very bright. And when all these prices jump, it's going to be hell for you Republicans come January. Next year is going to be a very, very bad year for you. If you guys don't restore these ACA subsidies and you have millions of people losing insurance and millions of others that can barely afford insurance, you're in trouble. You think people are going to be like, well, I don't care that I can't go see the doctor because we're doing lots of mass deportations. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, President, House, and Senate's all run by Republicans. And ever since that last election, you guys have been getting rolled. We'll see. I don't think it's because Democrats are doing something right, if we're being honest. I don't think that Democrats are overperforming in these elections because they're doing a good job. I think that's literally how bad Trump is. That's how Biden won. It wasn't like Biden showed up with a bunch of good ideas. Trump was just that bad, and then apparently a bunch of people forgot. And so we brought him back in, and he's worse this time. YT is stupid and stuff, said for Jen's stress bubble. I was Jen laying on the guilt trips. I love that. Wasn't me, said for the I hate Josh Hawley club dues. I think you're leading that club, aren't you? All right. Then we got, that was Rand Paul. Let's get into some more corruption, probably. Yeah. We're talking, as we talk about what's going on in Minnesota, I wanted to, two things that I think that people are missing. Number one, there were a bunch of people who were involved in the scam in Minnesota who are immigrants and who have roots in Somalia. But there's also a lot of white people. There's also a lot of Republicans that have been involved in that scam too. This isn't just them. So it is interesting that like the Republicans have turned this news story into it's the Somalis. But like there's not enough Somalis in that state to make up all of that fraud, alleged fraud. Let's be honest about the fraud. Hasn't been proven yet. Why do you think it is that Republicans that are here, why do you think it is that you're only talking about Somalis? Why aren't you talking about everybody that's involved in that fraud? It's not racism, right? We don't have their names, bud. Name them. Name them. Name the Somalis. Name the Somalis. Give me one. Give me the names of the Somalis then. You could at least say like Tim Walz or something. That would have been an opportunity for you that you missed. All right, but speaking of fraud, in October, Popular Information reported that the Pentagon awarded a contract to a company called Unusual Machines. And Unusual Machines got this guy on the board, not because he has a bunch of experience. This is a drone company. He has no experience with drones. His brother Eric also has no experience with drones. And Steve Witkoff's son, is his name Eric too? I don't remember what his son's name is. We'll get to it. Also has no experience with drones. So why would you take 3 people whose dads work in this administration and put them on your board? Probably for no reason, right? Donald Trump Jr. joined as advisor in 2024 despite having no notable experience with drones or military contracting. Then they got a contract for the manufacturing of 3,500 drone motors. And the Army also indicated it planned to order an additional 20,000 components from Unusual Machines next year. Trump Jr. was given 200,000 shares of the company's stock in 2024, which are now worth millions. Now, another small startup funded by 1789 Capital, a venture capital firm where Trump Jr. is a partner, will receive a $620 million loan from the Defense Department, according to the Financial Times. Vulcan Elements, which currently has around 30 employees, produces rare earth magnets, which can be used in drones, radar systems, and other military applications. The contract was awarded just 3 months after 1789 invested in Vulcan. The loan's part of a larger $1.4 billion deal announced last month that also involves another company, Re-Element Technologies. It also includes $50 million from the Commerce Department and $550 million from private investors. In exchange, the Department of Commerce will receive $50 million of equity in Vulcan Elements. The Department of Defense will receive warrants for Vulcan Elements, an option to buy a stake in the future, according to ownership in these companies. So while Trump is in office, his kids are getting billions of dollars in contracts with experience that they don't have, but Hunter Biden, right? And the difference between this and Hunter Biden is that when Hunter Biden's dad was in office, Hunter Biden got investigated, and Hunter's dad didn't put a stop to that. There will be no investigation here. Vulcan CEO John Maslin and Unusual Machines CEO Alan Evans said that Trump Jr. played no role in securing the government contracts. No role. He just really likes drones. We just put him on the board and gave him 200 million shares, but for no reason. In September, Trump Jr. said on his podcast that he looked for candidates who wanted to spend more on drones, alleging that the military is better served with a drone that costs a tiny fraction of a plane. During the nomination process, Trump Jr. was also an outspoken defender of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who later issued several directives that enabled the Pentagon to increase spending on drones. I think he just did this again, like yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. Let's see. Do I have the clip? Is this the one? Remember he had the drone hand him the paperwork? Here it is.
U.S. defense spending as a percentage of GDP dropped significantly. The War Department budgeted for quality over quantity. That served us well for 30 years. However, we now find ourselves in a new era, an era of cheap, disposable battlefield drones. We cannot be left behind. We must invest in inexpensive unmanned platforms that have proved so effective. One of my priorities is rebuilding our military. We can't do that by doing business the same way we have in the past. We cannot afford to shoot down cheap drones with $2 million missiles. And we ourselves must be able to field large quantities of capable attack drones. In July, I stripped away regulations handicapping our adoption of small drones, shifting authorities from the resident bureaucracy to unit commanders. This was the first step in the urgent effort to boost lethality across the force. The second step is to kickstart U.S. industrial.
All right. So by itself, not a bad idea, right? I like the idea of the military spending less in any way that they possibly can. What's the problem here is that it's Trump's kids with no experience making hundreds of millions of dollars. And these people hired him because this is a competitive market. Harness reporting Amnesty International found evidence of torture at Alligator Alcatraz. Jen, will you find that? And let me know. Christy said, oh, I got that one already. Then also, at the same time, Trump has boosted the crypto industry from the White House by softening regulations and creating a national crypto reserve. He and his sons have raked in cash from their own crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. We talked about that before. They just pretend that they started that because they got debanked, but it's just a way for them to funnel money to themselves. In August, they sold $750 million of their stablecoin to a small tech company called Alt5 Sigma. Then Alt5 Sigma bought the stockpile of World Liberty Financial stablecoin to tie the value of its stock to the value of the cryptocurrency. This move mimicked a firm called Strategy, which created a Bitcoin reserve that initially sent its stock price soaring. The tactic has since fallen out of favor, and Strategy stock has lost about 50% of its value in the last 6 months. Now Trump's going around and fleecing other countries and other companies because he's got to keep this stable coin high. So Trump is using this money that he says he's getting for the country, and he's propping up all these projects that make he and his kids a bunch of money. That's pretty cool. They were waterboarding? Are you kidding about this? Yeah, that's a bigger story. I'm going to go to that. Anyways, just Hunter Biden corruption. Let's see. Here's Aaron Parnas. Thank you, Jen.
We have some major news right now. And
Jen is like Jamie from Rogan, except for not afraid to yell
we
at
have
me.
some major news right now. Amnesty International has published a new report detailing possible torture and enforced disappearances at the Alligator Alcatraz facility in South Florida, along with the Crone detention facility in South Florida. Here's what you need to know. Amnesty International says that migrants held at these facilities were exposed to, quote, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. And in some cases, it rose to torture. One of the cases involved what detainees called the, quote, box. The box was just a cage outside exposed to the South Florida heat, to the mosquitoes. People were taken to the box and punished just for trivial offenses, held there for an entire day sometimes. There were additional unsanitary conditions at the facility, including fecal matter seeping into where people were sleeping, limited access to showers, exposure to insects without protective measures, lights on 24 hours a day, poor quality for food and water, lack of privacy, and much more. Literally torture on United States soil, and people aren't really talking about it. So spread the word.
All right, here's the article. Jesus. Let's see. Crowded, chaotic, and dangerous. People shared stories of violence and ill treatment from guards. Amnesty International staffers witnessed a guard violently slam a metal flap of a door to a solitary confinement room against a man's injured hand. Other people reported being hit and punched by guards. People also reported difficulty in accessing counsel and not knowing how long they would be detained or what will come next for them. Problems overcrowding, medical neglect, and reports of humiliating and degrading treatment paint a picture of harrowing human rights violations. Research concluded that people arbitrarily detained in Alligator Alcatraz are living in inhuman and unsanitary conditions, including overflowing toilets with fecal matter seeping into where people are sleeping, limited access to showers, exposure to insects without protective measures, lights on 24 hours a day, poor quality food and water, and lack of privacy, including cameras above the toilets. Jesus fuck. People interviewed shared that access to medical care is inconsistent, inadequate, and denied altogether, placing individuals at serious risk of mental and physical harm. People reported being always shackled when they were outside their cage. Other treatment those detainees endured amounts of torture, including being put in the box. 2x2 cage. That's crazy. Jesus. That cool. Remember when this started and Chris Cuomo was like, why don't the Democrats say they're proud to be in America? Do I believe it? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Amnesty International is pretty credible. So they're saying they saw it themselves. I don't know why I wouldn't. Is there a full report somewhere too? Let's see if they said they released a report. Was there a link I missed? Oh yeah, there's a full report. All right, I'll cover the report tomorrow. This is crazy. Just some quotes here. We're locked up in 1,000-foot cages. There are 32 people in each cage and 8 cages inside the tent. The lights are like stadium lights. They're always on. They're never turned off or even dimmed. It's very cold. The air conditioning is very strong. A lot of mosquitoes. I think that you would hear. You don't expect to hear this out of America. I mean, I guess we should. At least not in America. Like there was always at least we could, we had that privilege of saying, oh, that's not here in America. That's in acts of war. That's in Afghanistan. That's in Iraq. We don't do it here. We would never do that on soil. During war, it's different. Many right-wingers consider Amnesty International a radical leftist group. Anybody who reports on Donald Trump is a radical leftist group. Who cares? You are a menace. Yeah, no, I know you don't care. Like, you're just a fucking piece of shit. Honestly, if you read that and you don't care, like, how do you justify yourself? How are you anything but just a colossal piece of shit at that point? What else did you expect when they would not let congressional people in there to do their duty? That's a good point, too. Shut up, Matt. Dude, get off his dick for 2 seconds. We're not even talking about Trump right now. This is actually about Ron DeSantis. Bro, take it out of your mouth for 2 seconds. Not everything's about Trump. These people are sick. I want to show you. I'll link it back to this. I'll cover that tomorrow. I want to show you something that I thought was pretty funny. With Jesse Waters with Stephen Miller. You know what Republicans think about Stephen Miller? The same thing we think. We think they think he's a psycho, but they also think it's funny.
Did he just say anybody could watch my kids except Miller?
Well, I think in fairness, he's worried that if I babysat his kids, they come back after a couple hours and they would say, "Daddy, why don't you send the military into Minnesota to help us with the Somali refugees?" So, I think,
Miller, you constantly, you're trouble. I bet people.
This is response to Republicans saying they wouldn't leave their kids with him.
People are just trying to contain you at the White House. Don't let Miller off the leash. All right. He did say, though, he just say.
That face is getting fat, by the way, Stephen Miller. You look like shit. You depressed because Elon's smashing your girl? The guy sucks. I do have a hard cutoff at about 15 minutes here, but I want to cover just a little bit of stuff from Minnesota, what's going on out there. We're going to cover the racists. The racists are going to be assholes in the chat right now, but the great news, you get to see who the racists are and who the Republicans with some semblance of respectfulness about them still are. Drew, don't be a racist for a second. I like you. I don't want you to be looped in with these dipshits. Here's Donald Trump. As if it wasn't bad enough, Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, I think we showed that clip yesterday, said he's proud to have the largest Somali community in the world. And boy, did that make Trump mad.
President, thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying.
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars.
Allegedly. Right? Like, you guys all just think this happened. It's an investigation. So for all of you who are upset that we were like, oh, Trump, look at these indictments. By the way, he was 3 for 3. Every time he went to court, he lost. But allegedly, unless it's on the other side, then it absolutely happened.
They have a
you need all Somalia illegals out now? Great. Did you know that like 7% of them are here legally? 56% of them were born here in the United States. Did you know that? These people that we're talking about, these are American citizens or people that have legal status. So cool.
Representative Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny.
It's also never been proven. There's literally no evidence for any of this. The evidence for this thing that the president of the United States is stating is a Facebook post. It originates from a Facebook post. There is absolutely no evidence that this is true. We covered it live on stream. I have tried to find any evidence. I've went into every right-wing hellhole to find this, and the evidence is literally a Facebook post. This guy's just like every one of your dumbest uncles.
Deny it now, but you can't really deny it because.
I agree. This guy right here hates our country and wants to give it away. He's giving it away to the Saudis. He's giving it away to Russia. He's giving it away to the Qataris. He's giving it away to Israel. He's giving it away to all of his friends. Giving it away to his billionaire friends. I agree with you. Thank you for bringing that up. This guy is a pathetic fucking loser, just giving our country away. And then he's just being racist at the same time.
Just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of the.
For what reason? For what? Why should she be thrown out of our country? What's the crime that she committed there? Omar did say she would support Somali interests addressing Somalis, so that didn't help her popularity. Yeah, she said that she would support Somali interests regarding Somalians. It was. I'm trying to remember who they were. It was about foreign policy, and the Somali people in Somalia. God, it's hard to say because I don't want to say Somalians. I know that that's wrong. It was about a foreign conflict. When she said like I'm Somali first, she was talking about her people in a foreign conflict.
Those people, they have destroyed Minnesota. Okay,
that's a good point. He's not giving it away. He's also getting paid. Thank you, Joseph, for correcting that.
So you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's in.
I did know Trump was a Democrat in the 90s. He was also a rapist in the 90s. He's still the same. He's still just the same guy.
Incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now.
Oh.
And there's some.
We got anybody Minnesota folks here? It's a hellhole, right? I saw a lady yesterday that was like, Minnesota's a hellhole. During COVID, when I would drive through downtown Minnesota, something called like the spaghetti loop or something. I don't remember what it's called. Is that what it's called? Like the spaghetti loop or the spaghetti bowl or some shit like that? She's like, it used to take 4 hours, and now I drove through in 20 minutes. She's like, it's a hellhole. I was like, wait, what? There's less traffic? So it's a hellhole? Is that what it's called? Yeah, we have a lot of people here from Minnesota. They love it.
Aliens should be out of here. They've destroyed our country.
No, she didn't. Do your homework, Victoria. I did my homework, and I'll actually show it to you. I did this with Admir yesterday. Oh, yeah. In late 2023 or early 2024, a short clip of Omar speaking in Somali at a Minneapolis event circulated with subtitles claiming she was Somalis. She said Somalis know they are Somalis first, Muslims second, and that she would use her position in Congress to defend Somalia's maritime interests. The clip was used by Republican leaders to argue she had admitted putting Somali interests ahead of the United States and to demand an ethics investigation. You can go look at Majority Whip link right there. Somali speakers and media outlets that reviewed longer versions of the speech reported that the viral English subtitles, because you motherfuckers don't learn other languages ever and you trusted subtitles, were inaccurate and stripped of context. Omar herself said that that the translation was slanted and completely off, arguing that her remarks were about Somali unity in opposition to a specific Ethiopia-Somalian port deal, not about disloyalty to the United States. Now, I showed you a clip earlier today of her saying that she is proud to be an American and she is proud of her Somalian heritage, meaning she's literally saying, I am an American and I'm proud of that, but I'm also proud of my heritage. But you guys are racist, so that's why you believe dumb shit like that. Stop asking. Have you ever been to Somalia? Bro, you can talk about places outside of where you live. You say the same thing to everything I say. Have you been to Minnesota? Do you live in Minnesota? Have you been to Somalia? No, she's not. She lives here. She's an American citizen. She's a member of Congress. Nobody's advocating that America becomes Somalia. All right. I'm trying to remember what this was here. Oh, yeah. This just made me laugh. I don't know who this creator is. You guys might know him. Making great points here. I agree with him. I just want to say before this message plays, I 100% endorse this message in the name of consistency. This is White Claw Socialist.
A lot of white nationalists are really upset about Somali immigration to Minnesota for some reason. But the thing is, Minnesota is the homeland of the Somali people, and it was promised to us 3,000 years ago. In fact, one of the founding documents of the state of Minnesota is literally codifying into law that Somali people have self-determination on that land. As it states very plainly in the basic law in Minnesota, the land of Minnesota is the historical homeland of the Somali people, in which the state of Minnesota was established. The state of Minnesota is the home of the Somali people, in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical right to self-determination. The right to exercise self-determination in the state of Minnesota is unique to the Somali people. The state views the development of Somali settlement as a national value and will act to encourage and promote its establishment and consolidation. So that's the end of the debate.
Yep.
The only people who have the right to self-determination in Minnesota are Somalis.
That's right. If you are not Somali in Minnesota, you have no right